Okay, good morning to everyone. We'll start the today's session. So today we'll have a group discussion. As you all know, yesterday we have chosen the 12 persons for the group discussion, and the duration of the presentation is 15 minutes. And these presenters will do the presentation without using any aid. Yesterday we noticed that some of the people were reading from the book, so we do not want the people to do that. So now with this we'll start the session. If there are any question, we would be happy to answer. Otherwise, I will start the session. I will start calling the people. The procedure is like this. The protocol what we follow is I'll call a person. So he or she has this one can speak for or against. Yesterday I have given the topic also to each one of them. So you have an option to speak for or against. It's not necessary if somebody has spoken for, it doesn't mean that the second person in that same theme should speak against. You can speak for also. So with this, I wish all of you the best. So we will start the session. Let us have the first presentation by Prasanna PM. He will be talking about energy.
I'm here, sir. Good morning. Sir, am I audible?
Yeah, good morning, Prasanna. You are audible. Switch on the video and start.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಶುಭೋದಯ. I hope my voice and video is clear. ನಾನು ಇವತ್ತು
your voice and video is good. Go ahead.
Yes. ಇವತ್ತು ನಾನು ಇಂಧನದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲೇ ಮುಂದುವರಿದ ಭಾಗವಾದಂತಹ ಸುಸ್ಥಿರವಾದಂತಹ ಬದಲಿ ಇಂಧನಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತನಾಡುವಂತ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನವನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲೂ ನಾನು ಆಯ್ಕೆ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡ ವಿಚಾರ ಸೌರಶಕ್ತಿ. ನಮ್ಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ, ನಾವು ಭಾರತೀಯರು ಸೂರ್ಯನ ಆರಾಧಕರು. ನಮ್ಮ ಬೆಳಗ್ಗಿನ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಪ್ರಕ್ರಿಯೆಯಿಂದ ಹಿಡಿದು ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಕೂಡ ಸೂರ್ಯನನ್ನ ನಮಸ್ಕರಿಸುವ ಮೂಲಕ ನಮ್ಮದು ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಕೆಲಸವೂ ಕೂಡ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭವಾಗ್ತದೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಬದುಕು ಸೂರ್ಯ ಕೇಂದ್ರಿತವಾದಂತಹ ಬದುಕು. ನಮ್ಮ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸೂರ್ಯ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಬೆಳಕು, ಬೆಳಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಜ್ಞಾನ. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ನಾನು ಆಯ್ಕೆ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡ ವಿಷಯ ಸೌರಶಕ್ತಿ. ಇದೆಲ್ಲವೂ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಾಂಸ್ಕೃತಿಕ ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆ ಆದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಆರ್ಥಿಕವಾಗಿಯೂ ಕೂಡ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಸದೃಢವಾಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ನಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಪಾರಿಸಾರಿಕವಾಗಿ ಸುಸ್ಥಿರವಾಗಿ ಇಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸೌರಶಕ್ತಿಯ ಪಾತ್ರ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಮಹತ್ವವಾದದ್ದು. ಆ ನಿಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾರತದ ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಹೇಗಿದೆ, ನಾವು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಂದುವರಿಬಹುದು, ನಮಗೆ ಅದಕ್ಕಿರುವಂತ ಅಡೆತಡೆಗಳೇನು, ಈ ವಿಚಾರವಾಗಿ ನನ್ನ ಒಂದೆರಡು ವಿಚಾರಗಳನ್ನ ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತಪಡಿಸ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇಚ್ಛಿಸ್ತೇನೆ. ನನ್ನ ಭಾರತದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಿದ್ರೆ, ಸೌರಶಕ್ತಿಯಿಂದ ವಿದ್ಯುತ್ತನ್ನ ಅಥವಾ ಇಂಧನವನ್ನ ಉತ್ಪಾದಿಸುವ ನಿಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾರತ ಜಗತ್ತಿನಲ್ಲಿ 5ನೇ ಸ್ಥಾನದಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಲ್ತದೆ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಅತಿ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಸೋಲಾರ್ ಪವರ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಕೂಡ ಭಾರತದಲ್ಲೇ ಇರುವಂತದ್ದು, ಅದು ರಾಜಸ್ಥಾನದಲ್ಲಿದೆ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ 3ನೇ ಅತಿ ದೊಡ್ಡದು ಕೂಡ ಅದು ನಮ್ಮದೇ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾವಗಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂತದ್ದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಗಮನಿಸಬಹುದು. ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಇದೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಕೂಡ ಇದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾವಿನ್ನು ಸಾಧಿಸಬೇಕಾದಂಥದ್ದು ಅತ್ಯಂತ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಪ್ರಮಾಣದಲ್ಲಿರುವಂಥದ್ದು. ನಮ್ಮ ಗುರಿ ಇರುವಂತದ್ದು 2020ರ ಹೊತ್ತಿಗೆ ನಾವು 50 ಮೆಗಾವ್ಯಾಟ್ 500 ಗಿಗಾವ್ಯಾಟ್ ವಿದ್ಯುತ್ತನ್ನ ನಾವೇ ಸ್ವತಃ ಭಾರತದಲ್ಲಿ ಉತ್ಪಾದಿಸಬೇಕನ್ನುವಂತ ಗುರಿಯನ್ನ ಹಾಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಅಲ್ಲದೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಇಡೀ ವಿದ್ಯುತ್ ಅಥವಾ ನಮ್ಮ ಇಂಧನ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ 50 ಭಾಗದಷ್ಟು ನಾವು ರಿನ್ಯೂವಬಲ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿಯಿಂದನೇ ಪಡಿಬೇಕು ಎನ್ನುವಂತ ಗುರಿಯನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಹಾಕಿಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಇದೆಲ್ಲದಕ್ಕೂ ಪೂರಕವಾದಂಥದ್ದು, ಇದೆಲ್ಲದಕ್ಕೂ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಹೆಮ್ಮರವಾಗಿ ನಿಂತಿರುವಂತದ್ದು ನಮ್ಮ ಗುರಿ ಇರುವಂತದ್ದು ಇಂಗಾಲದ ಡೈಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್ ಅನ್ನ, ಅದರ ಹೊರಸೂಸುವಿಕೆಯನ್ನ ನಾವು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಎನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ನಮ್ಮ ಮೂಲ ಗುರಿ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಪೂರಕವಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿಗಳನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರುವಂತದ್ದು ನಮ್ಮ ಗಮನದಲ್ಲಿದೆ. ಆ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಭಾರತದಲ್ಲಿ ಏಕೆ ನಾವು ಸೋಲಾರ್ ಅನ್ನ ಅಳವಡಿಸಿಕೊಳ್ಳುವುದು ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಉತ್ತಮ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ, ಒಂದು ಇದರ ಭೌಗೋಳಿಕ ಪ್ರದೇಶವನ್ನ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾರತ ಬರುವಂತದ್ದು 40 ಡಿಗ್ರಿ ನಾರ್ತರ್ನ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ 40 ಡಿಗ್ರಿ ಉತ್ತರ ಹಾಗೂ 40 ಡಿಗ್ರಿ ದಕ್ಷಿಣ ಅಕ್ಷಾಂಶದ ಮಧ್ಯ ಬರುವುದರಿಂದ ಇದು ಸೂರ್ಯನ ಬೆಳಕನ್ನ ಅತಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಪಡೆಯುವಂತಹ ಪ್ರದೇಶವಾದ್ದರಿಂದ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಸೂರ್ಯನ ಬೆಳಕಿನ ಉಪಲಬ್ಧತೆ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಪ್ರಮಾಣದಲ್ಲಿದೆ. ಇದೇ ಸೂರ್ಯನ ಕಿರಣಗಳು ಭೂಮಿಗೆ ಬೀಳುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ವಿಚಾರವನ್ನು ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕೆಲವು ಅಧ್ಯಯನಗಳನ್ನ ನಡೆಸಿರುವಂತದ್ದು ನಮ್ಮ ಗಮನದಲ್ಲಿದೆ. ಒಂದು ಸೋಲಾರ್ ಹಾಟ್ಸ್ಪಾಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಎನ್ನುವಂತ ಒಂದು ಅಧ್ಯಯನ ವರದಿಯನ್ನು ನಾವು ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಸೋಲಾರ್ ಇನ್ಸೋಲೇಷನ್ ಪೊಟೆನ್ಶಿಯಲ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಅದನ್ನ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಭಾರತದಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು 5 ಕಿಲೋವ್ಯಾಟ್ ಪರ್ ಸ್ಕ್ವೇರ್ ಮೀಟರ್ ಪರ್ ಡೇ, ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನದಾಗಿ ಇರುವುದರಿಂದ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಸೋಲಾರ್ ಅನ್ನ ಅತಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಬಳಸುವುದರಿಂದ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಉತ್ತಮವಾದಂತ ನಾವು ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಪಡೆಯುವಂತ ಒಂದು ಸನ್ನಿವೇಶ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿದೆ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸೋಲಾರ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೆದಾಗ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತಹ ವಿಧಾನಗಳು ಕೂಡ ಇದೆ. ಒಂದು ನಾವು ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಜನಪ್ರಿಯವಾದಂಥದ್ದು, ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಜನಸ್ನೇಹಿ ಆಗಿರುವಂತದ್ದು PV ಸೋಲಾರ್ ಪ್ಯಾನಲ್ಸ್. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದನ್ನ ಪಡೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳುವಿಕೆಯೂ ಕೂಡ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಸುಲಭವಾದದ್ದು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆರ್ಥಿಕವಾಗಿಯೂ ಕೂಡ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬರು ಇದನ್ನ ಹೊಂದಬಹುದಾಗಿದೆ. ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇದರ ಪಾರಿಸರಿಕವಾದಂತಹ ದುಷ್ಪರಿಣಾಮಗಳು ಕೂಡ ಕಂಪ್ಯಾರಿಟಿವ್ಲಿ ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಟೆಡ್ ಸೋಲಾರ್, ಏನು ನಾವು ಬೆಳಕನ್ನ ಒಂದೇ ಕಡೆ ಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಿಸಿ ಅದರಿಂದ ಸೋಲಾರ್ ವಿದ್ಯುತ್ ಅನ್ನ ಪಡೆಯುವಂತಹ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಉತ್ತಮವಾಗಿರುವಂತದ್ದು ಅನೇಕ ಅಧ್ಯಯನಗಳ ಮೂಲಕ ತಿಳಿದು ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನಾನು ಅದರಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ PV ಸೋಲಾರ್ ಪ್ಯಾನೆಲ್ಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅತಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಪ್ರಾಮುಖ್ಯತೆಯನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಆ PV ಪೊಟೆನ್ಶಿಯಲ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾರತದ್ದು ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದಂತ ನೋಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಕೂಡ 2.031 to 5.925 ಕಿಲೋವ್ಯಾಟ್ ಪರ್ ಕಿಲೋವ್ಯಾಟ್ ಪೀಕ್. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಸೋಲಾರ್ ಪವರ್ PV ಪ್ಯಾನಲಿನ ಗರಿಷ್ಠ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಒಂದಿದ್ರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ತತ್ಸಮಾನವಾಗಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ನಾವು ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಪಡಿಬಹುದು ಎನ್ನುವಂತ ಸಂಖ್ಯೆಯನ್ನ ಇದು ಕೊಡ್ತದೆ. ಅದನ್ನು ನೋಡಿದ್ರು ಸಹ ಭಾರತ ಈ ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆಯಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಪ್ರಬುದ್ಧವಾದಂತ ಒಂದು ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇರುವಂತದ್ದು ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು ಆಶಾದಾಯಕವಾದಂತ ಸ್ಥಿತಿಯನ್ನ ತೋರಿಸ್ತದೆ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಪ್ರಮಾಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಾಲ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತಹ, ದೊಡ್ಡ ಪ್ರಮಾಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾರಿಗೊಳಿಸುವಂತಹ ಸೋಲಾರಿನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತನಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ನಾವು ಇದನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಅದರ ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಅಧ್ಯಯನಗಳಾಗಿವೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ, ಸೋಲಾರ್ ಪ್ಯಾನಲ್ ಅನ್ನ ನಾವು ಮನೆಯ ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಛಾವಣಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕುವುದರಿಂದ ನಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಯ ತಾಪಮಾನವೂ ಕೂಡ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಎನ್ನುವಂತ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕನಿಷ್ಠ 1 ಡಿಗ್ರಿಯಿಂದ 3 ಡಿಗ್ರಿಯವರೆಗೆ ಮನೆಯ ಒಳಗಡೆಯ ತಾಪಮಾನ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು ಎನ್ನುವಂತಹ ಸ್ಟಡಿಗಳು ಕೂಡ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನದಾಗಿ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ದೇಶಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನಡೆದಿದೆ. ಭಾರತದಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಪ್ರಮಾಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ರೂ ಬೇರೆ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಗಮನಿಸಿದ್ರೆ ಈ ವಿಚಾರವನ್ನ ತಿಳಿದುಕೊಳ್ಬಹುದು. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನಗಳೇನು, ನಮ್ಮ ಸಾಂಸ್ಥಿಕವಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನಗಳು ಈ ನಿಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ನಡೆದಿವೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ, ಭಾರತ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಆಫ್ ನ್ಯೂ ಅಂಡ್ ರಿನ್ಯೂವಬಲ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಅದರ ಮುಖಾಂತರ 20% to 40% ಈ ಮೇಲ್ಛಾವಣಿ ವಿದ್ಯುತ್, ಸೋಲಾರ್ ವಿದ್ಯುತ್ತಿಗೆ 20% to 40% ಯಾರು ಇದನ್ನ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಾಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೊರಟಿದಾರೋ ಅವರಿಗೆ ನೀಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅನೇಕ ರೀತಿಯ ಉತ್ತೇಜನಗಳನ್ನ ನೀಡ್ತಾ ಇರುವಂತದ್ದು ನೋಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಪ್ರಾರಂಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದಿತ್ತು, ನಾವು 1 ಯೂನಿಟ್ಗೆ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಯಾವ ಬೇರೆ ವಿದ್ಯುತ್ ಆಕರಗಳಿಂದ ನಾವು ಏನ್ ಪಡಿತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೋ, ನಮ್ಮ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಹೆಸ್ಕಾಂ ಬೆಸ್ಕಾಂ ಈ ರೀತಿಯಿಂದ ಪಡಿತಾ ಇರುವಂತಹ ವಿದ್ಯುತ್ತಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಕೊಡಬೇಕಾದಂತ ಬೆಲೆ ಆನ್ ಅನ್ ಎವರೇಜ್ ನಾವು 5 ರೂಪಾಯಿಯನ್ನ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. ಆದರೆ ನಾವು ಉತ್ಪಾದಿಸಿ ಸೋಲಾರ್ ಮೇಲ್ಛಾವಣಿಯಿಂದ ಉತ್ಪಾದಿಸಿ ಬೇರೆಯವರಿಗೆ ನೀಡಿದರೆ, ವಾಪಸ್ ಗ್ರಿಡ್ಗೆ ನೀಡಿದರೆ ನಮಗೆ ಸಿಗುವಂತದ್ದು 9 ರೂಪಾಯಿ, 4 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಲಾಭವನ್ನ ನಾವು ಪಡಿತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಮಲೆನಾಡಿನಂತಹ ಸೂರ್ಯನ ಕಿರಣಗಳು ಅತಿ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಬೀಳುವಂತ ಪ್ರದೇಶವನ್ನು ಸಹ ನಾವು ಗಮನಿಸಿದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಮಳೆಗಾಲದಲ್ಲೂ ಸಹ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಉತ್ತಮವಾದಂತಹ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್, ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಪ್ರಮಾಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಗಳನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಸೋಲಾರ್ PV ಪ್ಯಾನೆಲ್ ನೀಡ್ತಾ ಇರುವಂತದ್ದು ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಪೂರಕವಾದಂತಹ ವಾತಾವರಣ ಸೋಲಾರ್ PV ಪ್ಯಾನೆಲ್ಗೆ ಇದೆ ಎನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದನ್ನ ತೋರಿಸ್ತದೆ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಇದೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಕೂಡ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ನೂ ಸಾಧಿಸಬೇಕಾದಂತೂ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟಿದೆ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಇನ್ನೂ ಕೂಡ ಸೋಲಾರಿಗೆ ಅಡಾಪ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಮುನ್ನುಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಹಾಗಿದ್ರೆ ನಾನೊಬ್ಬನಾಗಿ ನನ್ನ ಸುತ್ತಮುತ್ತಲಿನ ಜನತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಗೆ ಜಾಗೃತಿಯನ್ನ ಮೂಡಿಸಬಹುದು, ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಇದನ್ನ ನಮ್ಮ ಊರುಗಳಲ್ಲಿ, ನಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ, ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಪ್ರಮಾಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಾಲ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಎನ್ನುವಂತ ನನ್ನ ವಿಚಾರವನ್ನ ತಿಳಿಸ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಒಂದು, ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಅನೇಕ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಗಳಿದ್ದಾವೆ, ಅನೇಕ ಸರ್ಕಾರಿ ಕಟ್ಟಡಗಳಿದ್ದಾವೆ, ಅನೇಕ ಸರ್ಕಾರಿ ಆಫೀಸ್ಗಳಿದ್ದಾವೆ, ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಪ್ರೈವೇಟ್ ಕೂಡ ಇದ್ದಾವೆ. ಅವರೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ಅವರು ಸ್ವ ಇಚ್ಛೆಯಿಂದ ಈ ಸೋಲಾರ್ ಪ್ಯಾನೆಲ್ಗಳನ್ನ ತಮ್ಮ ಮೇಲ್ಛಾವಣಿಗಳ ಮೇಲೆ ಸ್ಥಾಪಿಸಿ ಇದನ್ನ ಮಾದರಿಯಾಗಿ ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬರಿಗೆ ತೋರಿಸಿದ್ರೆ ಇದನ್ನ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ಬಳಸುವಂತ ಪ್ರಮಾಣ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗ್ತದೆ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ನನ್ನ ಭಾವನೆ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಪ್ರಮಾಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಗೃತಿಯನ್ನ ಮೂಡಿಸಿ ಇದರಿಂದ ನಮ್ಮ ಆದಾಯವೂ ಕೂಡ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗ್ತದೆ ಅನ್ನುವುದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬರಿಗೆ ತಿಳಿಸಿದಾಗ ಅವರು ಕೂಡ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಪ್ಪಿ ಇದನ್ನ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಪ್ರಮಾಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಳಸ್ತಾ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಅತಿ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇಂಗಾಲದ ಡೈಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್ ಅನ್ನ ಹೊರಸೂಸುವಂತ ಭಾರತವಾಗಿ ಮುನ್ನುಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿಯ ತೊಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನಿಸ್ತದೆ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ನಮ್ಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತಿರುವಂತೆ ವಿದ್ಯುತ್ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಯಾವ ಬದುಕು ಸಹ ನಡೀತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಈಗ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ ವೆಹಿಕಲ್ ಕೂಡ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾವೆ. ಅಂತ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಬೆಸ್ಕಾಂ ಹೆಸ್ಕಾಂ ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತಹ ಬೇರೆಯವರಿಂದ ನಾವು ವಿದ್ಯುತ್ತನ್ನ ಪಡಿತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ, ಎರವಲಾಗಿ ಪಡಿತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಆದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ರಿಮೋಟ್ ಏರಿಯಾದಿಂದ ಬಂದಿದ್ರೆ ಆ ಏರಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಗಾಡಿಗಳನ್ನ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ ವೆಹಿಕಲ್ ಅನ್ನ ಖರೀದಿಸಿ ನಾವು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮಳೆಗಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೆ ವಿದ್ಯುತ್ ಸಿಗುವಂತದ್ದು ಅತ್ಯಂತ ದುರ್ಲಭವಾದಂತ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ. ಅಂತ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವೇನಾದ್ರೂ ಸೋಲಾರ್ ಅಥವಾ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲೇ ಉತ್ಪಾದಿಸಬಹುದಾದಂತಹ ಯಾವುದಾದರೂ ರೀತಿಯ ವಿದ್ಯುತ್ ಮೂಲಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ಹೊಂದಿದ್ರೆ ನಮಗೆ ಈ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಗಳು ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಈ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ನಾವು ಸ್ವಾಭಿಮಾನದಿಂದ ಬದುಕುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ನಿಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಜೀವನ ಸಾಗಿಸಬಹುದು. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆಲ್ಲದರ ನಡುವೆ ಇದರಿಂದ ಯಾವುದೇ ದುಷ್ಪರಿಣಾಮಗಳು ಇಲ್ವೇ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ದುಷ್ಪರಿಣಾಮಗಳು ಕೂಡ ಇದೆ. ಆದರೆ ಉಳಿದ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕನ್ವೆನ್ಷನಲ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ರಿಸೋರ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ ಬರುವಂತಹ ವಿದ್ಯುತ್ತಿಗೆ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಇದರಿಂದ ಇದರಿಂದ ಉಂಟಾಗುವಂತಹ ದುಷ್ಪರಿಣಾಮ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಕಡಿಮೆ. ನಾವು ಯಾವುದು ಬೆಟರ್ ಇದೆಯೋ ಅದರೆಡೆಗೆ ಸಾಗುವಂತದ್ದು ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗಿ ಉತ್ತಮ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ನನ್ನ ಭಾವನೆ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ನು ಮುಂದೆ ಅವರದ್ದು ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಮಗೆ ಆರ್ಥಿಕವಾಗಿ ಇದು ಲಾಭವನ್ನು ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಇದು ನಮ್ಮ ಸಾಂಸ್ಕೃತಿಕವಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆ ಏನು ಸೂರ್ಯನನ್ನು ಆರಾಧಿಸುವಂತದ್ದು ಅದಕ್ಕೂ ಕೂಡ ಇದು ನಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಅದೇ ನಿಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಕಾರಣದಿಂದ ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾರತದ ಗುರಿ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಮುಟ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೂ ಕೂಡ ಇದು ನಮಗೆ ಸಹಾಯ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಆದ್ರಿಂದ ನಾವು ಇದರೆಡೆಗೆ ಹೋಗುವಂತದ್ದು ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಸೂಕ್ತ ಅಂತ ನಮಗನಿಸ್ತದೆ. ಇನ್ನು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಾದಂತ ಕೆಲಸ ಏನಿದೆ, ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಅನೇಕರಿಗೆ ಇದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅರಿವೇ ಇಲ್ಲವಂತದ್ದು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅರಿವು ಮೂಡಿಸುವಂತ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನ ಯುವಕರಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದಂತ ಅನಿವಾರ್ಯತೆ ಇದೆ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಿಗುವಂತಹ ಸಬ್ಸಿಡಿಯನ್ನ ಇನ್ನೂ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಪ್ರಮಾಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಸರ್ಕಾರಗಳು ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಇನ್ನು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಪ್ರಮಾಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಯಾವುದು ಉಚಿತಗಳನ್ನ ನೀಡುವ ಬದಲು ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತಹ ದೇಶದ ಪ್ರಗತಿಗೆ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಗುವಂತ ಈ ರೀತಿಯ ವಿಚಾರಗಳೆಡೆಗೆ ಅವರು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಗಮನವನ್ನು ಹರಿಸಿದರೆ ಇನ್ನು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಪ್ರಮಾಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಇವು ಎಲ್ಲ ಮನೆಗಳಿಗೆ ತಲುಪುವಂತದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ಸಂಶಯ ಇಲ್ಲ ಎನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ನನ್ನ ಭಾವನೆ. ಈ ಎಲ್ಲ ವಿಚಾರಗಳನ್ನ ಮುಂದಿಟ್ಟುಕೊಂಡು ನಾವು ಸದೃಢ ಭಾರತವಾಗಿ ಮುನ್ನುಗ್ಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಈ ರೀತಿಯ ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಚಿಕ್ಕ ವಿಚಾರಗಳನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಗಮನದಲ್ಲಿಟ್ಟುಕೊಂಡು ಮುಂದುವರಿಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ನನ್ನ ಮಾತನ್ನು ಮುಗಿಸ್ತೇನೆ. ಧನ್ಯವಾದ.
Okay, thank you, Prasanna. So now we'll move to the next presentation by Ashpreet. She is going to talk on waste management. Ashpreet, you can speak now. The duration is 15 minutes. Okay, and you can either speak for or against. Choice is yours.
Okay. Sure, thank you. Good morning, everyone. So the Waste to Wealth mission is one of the 9 scientific missions of Prime Minister's Science, Technology and Innovation Advisory Council. The mission aims to identify, develop and deploy technologies to treat waste to generate energy, recycle materials, and extract resources of value. While recycling and composting to generate wealth from waste has been known to be an effective principle to reduce the waste, and it also boosts the national economy by providing jobs, creating energy from waste is a highly controversial topic. So today I will be speaking against the idea of creating energy from waste through incinerators. According to Central Pollution Control Board, India currently generates 62 million tons of municipal solid waste every year, and out of which 13 million tons of waste is hazardous waste. So usually on household level or even at institutional level, people will throw away the battery and hazardous waste in either wet or dry waste bin because they are not very aware about how to segregate their waste. In India, we do not have nationwide mandatory 3-bin system. So it's very unsure if people are segregating their waste from dry or wet waste or not. Therefore, when we take this mixed waste to incinerators to generate electricity, we are solving the issue of waste, but on the expense of creating air pollution, because there are many harmful gases that come from incinerating hazardous waste. Additionally, the Indian waste has very low calorific value and high moisture content. The calorific value is from the range from 1400 to 2100 kilograms per kg. And when we compare this to the developed nations, their calorific value is around the range from 2000 to 4000. So usually incinerators work well with the waste which has high calorific value. But because the India's waste has very low calorific value to burn, it will not produce the required energy even to sustain the whole plant itself. So setting up such plants also mean that the waste management process will be privatized. So this leaves very less room for the informal sector to come extract the reusable and recyclable waste on which their livelihood depends. Because when we extract such resources from waste instead of burning them for energy, it is more environmental friendly and it has a lesser carbon footprint than burning the waste. So those opportunities will be gone. So now let's talk about the costs required to set up these plants. So these plants can require a capital investment of around 50 to even 300 crores and from 23 to 150 acres to produce land acres of land to produce 16 megawatt of energy. So out of this energy, the plant itself uses half of the energy. So we might be only producing 18 megawatt of energy from these plants. So when we do not have enough land to sustain landfills, even we cannot support or provide land for everyday increasing population and providing homes to people to live, how are we going to provide so much land for incinerators? Now, if you compare the amount of investment and area of land required in solar panels to generate the same amount of electricity, which is 16 megawatt, we would need around 80 acres of land or even rooftops. We might not even need lands, which is still less than 150 acres of land when we set up the incinerators. And we would need around 72 crore rupees to install the solar panel to produce the electricity. So we can see that the comparison, it clearly tells that installing a panel panel power solar panel which can give us clean energy, it is less expensive and it's more environmental friendly than the incinerators. Additionally, these incinerators can only be functional for up to 20 years of age, where it would again require costly operational cost of up to 20 crore. On the other hand, the solar panel, they also work around for the same range, 25 to 30 years, but they do not require any operational costs. It's just that the output of the load will decrease, but it will still be able to produce the electricity. Additionally, it has been studied by environmental justice scholars and researchers that such waste to energy plants, they are usually set up in low income areas, usually around slum area in India. So that pollutes not only the nearby groundwater, but it also emits harmful gases in the air, thus causing threats to human health. So, for example, the Okla waste to energy plant in Delhi, it is along 30 meters from the nearby houses when it should be having a buffer area of 500 meters to set up such plants. And despite the opposition of local public, the plant is still running. So incinerators are getting opposed and getting banned worldwide. While incinerating waste, it can be quick and easy fix to clear the existing waste. It's not a sustainable solution to generate energy, especially in India, where the calorific value of the waste is too low to produce huge amount of energy. It's a waste management tool, not an energy production tool, and hence should not be used as energy production method. It should only be used when nothing else is working to manage our waste. If you're able to recycle, reduce, and reuse, these efforts should be preferred over incinerators. So hence we need to look for alternatives to incinerators. That being said, I rest my case here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ashpreet. So we'll move to the next presentation now. Next presentation is by Nisar Ahmad. Nisar?
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Hello.
You are audible.
Yeah,
Good morning. You are audible.
Thank you, sir.
You have 15 minutes. You are going to speak on nature-based solutions.
Yes, sir. Sure. ತಮಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಮುಂಜಾನೆಯ ಶುಭಾಶಯಗಳನ್ನು ಕೋರುತ್ತಾ ಸೊ ನನ್ನ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಬಂದು ನೇಚರ್ ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಪ್ರಕೃತಿ ಆಧಾರಿತ ಪರಿಹಾರಗಳು ಅಂತೇಳಿ. ಸೊ ಇದು ಹೇಳಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ನಾನು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಪ್ಪ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ದರಾ ಬೇಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಮಾತು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, 7 ಚಿನ್ನ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯುತ್ಗೋಸ್ಕರ. ಇದು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾರತ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಷ್ಟು ಯುವಕರಿಲ್ಲ, ಆದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತ್ರ ಅಷ್ಟು ಯುವಕರಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಮಗೂ ಇದು ತಿಳಿದಂತ ವಿಷಯ. ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, 7 ಚಿನ್ನ ಬೆಳಗಾಯ್ತು ಅಣ್ಣ ಮೂಡಲವು ತೆರೆ ಕಣ್ಣ, ನಕ್ಷತ್ರ ಜಾರಿ ತಮವೆಲ್ಲ ಸೋರಿ ಮಿಗಿಲುಹುದು ಬಾಣ ಬಣ್ಣ, ಜೇನನದ ಹೆದೆಗೆ ಹೂ ಬಾಣ ಹೂಡಿ ಜುಮ್ಮೆಂದು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮಾರ, ಗುಡಿ ಗೋಪುರಕ್ಕೆ ಅಲೆ ಬೀಸವೆಂದ ಅಗು ಬೆಳಕು ಬೇಟೆಗಾರ ಅಂತೇಳಿ. ಸಾಕು 7 ಚಿನ್ನ, ಈ ಮಲ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದು ಸಾಕು, ಪ್ರಕೃತಿನ ಮಲ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದು ಸಾಕು, ನಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಸರೌಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ನೋಡಿ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಪ್ರಕೃತಿ ಆಧಾರಿತ ಪರಿಹಾರಗಳನ್ನ ಇವತ್ತ ಇನ್ನೋವೇಟಿವ್ ಐಡಿಯಾಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮುಂದೆ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಸೊ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್ ಬಂದು ಏನು ಹೇಳಕ್ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೇನೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ನಾನು 4 ಪರಿಹಾರಗಳನ್ನ 4 ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಮೇಲೆ ನಾನು ಪರಿಹಾರಗಳನ್ನ ಇವತ್ತು ತಮ್ಮ ಮುಂದೆ ಹಂಚಿಕೊಳ್ಳಲು ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಬಂದು ವಾಟರ್. ಸೊ ನಾವು ವಾಟರ್ ಹೇಳಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನಾನು ಅದರ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಇತಿಹಾಸಗಳನ್ನ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮುಂದೆ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಇತಿಹಾಸ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಇತಿಹಾಸ ಅಧ್ಯಯನ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ದೋಸ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ಸ್ ಹೂ ಕನಾಟ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ದ ಹಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಅಂಟಿಲ್ ಅನ್ಲೆಸ್ he should not read the history. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೆ ಇತಿಹಾಸನ ಓದಲ್ಲ, ಅಧ್ಯಯನ ಮಾಡಲು ಅವ ಇತಿಹಾಸನ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತೇಳಿ. ಅದೇ ತರ ನಮ್ಮ ಇತಿಹಾಸದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಅದ್ರ ಗೊತ್ತಾದ್ರೆ, ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಇದಿತ್ತು ವಾಟರ್, ಯಾಕೆ ಈ ತರ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾದ್ರೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ಇನ್ನೋವೇಟಿವ್ ಐಡಿಯಾಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಕಂಡು ಹಿಡಿಯಲು ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ನನ್ನೊಂದು ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯ. ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಈ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನಾವು ವಾಟರ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಬರ್ತೇನೆ. ಹೌ ಟು ಕನ್ಸರ್ವ್ ದ ವಾಟರ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ ತರ ನಮ್ಮ ನೀರನ್ನ ನಾವು ಕನ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ನೀರನ್ನು ಅದ್ರಿಗೆ ಯಾವ ತರ ಪರಿಹಾರ ಏನು ಅಂತೇಳಿ. ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಇದು ವಾಟರ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದ್ದೇ, ಅದು ಬೆಂಗಳೂರದ್ದೇ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ನಾವು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಹೇಳಲು ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನಾವು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರೋ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಸಂಪಾಂಗಿ ಕೆರೆ ಅಂತೇಳಿ. ಸಂಪಾಂಗಿ ಕೆರೆ ಇದು ಎಷ್ಟೋ ವರ್ಷಗಳಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು 16th ಸೆಂಚುರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಕಾಣದಂತ ಒಂದು ಅತಿ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದಂತ ಕೆರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಲ್ಲೇ ಇತ್ತು. ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಲ್ಲಿ ಸುಮಾರು 1000ಕ್ಕೂ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಕೆರೆಗಳು ಇದ್ದು ಅಂತ ನಮ್ಗೆಲ್ಲ ತಿಳಿದಂತ ವಿಷಯ. ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿಗೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಹೆಸರು ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತಿದ್ರೆ ಕಲ್ಯಾಣ ನಗರಿ ಅಂತಾನು ಕರೀತಾರೆ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೆರೆಗಳ ನಗರ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀರಿ. ಇವತ್ತಿಗೆ ನಾವು ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ನನಗೊಂದು ತಿಳಿದಂತ ಪ್ರಕಾರ 198 ಕೆರೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಇದೆ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಅದೊಂದು ಎಷ್ಟು ಕೆರೆಗಳು ಬತ್ತು ಹೋಗಿದೆ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಕೆರೆಗಳು ಉಳಿದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಬೇಸರವಾದ ಸಂಗತಿ. ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಈ ಕೆರೆಗಳು ಹೇಗೆ ಹೋದು, ಹೇಗೆ ಈ ತರ ಆದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಮೇನ್ ಇಂಟೆನ್ಷನ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮೇನ್ ಇದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ನಗರೀಕರಣ. ಈ ನಗರೀಕರಣ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಾವು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ನಾಶ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿವಿ. ಸೊ ಪೀಪಲ್ಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಜನಗಳು ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೆರೆಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ಈಗ 193 ಕೆರೆಗಳಿವೆ. ಆ 193 ಕೆರೆ ಇನ್ನ ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಭವಿಷ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಉಳಿಯುತ್ತೋ ಇಲ್ಲೋ ಅದನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಯಾವ ತರ ನಾವು ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಯಾವ ತರ ನಾವು ಉಳಿಸ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ನನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು 2 ಇನೋವೇಟಿವ್ಸ್ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಇದೆ. ಇನೋವೇಟಿವ್ಸ್ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ ತರ ಉಳಿಸ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತೇಳಿ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಬಂದು ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ನಮಗೆ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿಗೆ ನೀರು ಬರುವಂತದ್ದು ಒಂದು ಮಾರ್ಗ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಒಂದು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಕುಡಿಯೋ ನೀರು ಒಂದು ಏನಪ್ಪ ಕಾವೇರಿಯಿಂದ ಬರ್ತೈತಿ. ಆ ಕಾವೇರಿಯಿಂದ ಬರೋಂತ ತಪ್ಸಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವೇನ್ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಮತ್ತೆ ನಾವು ಕೆರೆಗಳನ್ನು ನಿರ್ಮಾಣ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ಮತ್ತೆ ಕೆರೆಗಳನ್ನು ಹುಟ್ಸಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬರಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆರೆಗಳು ಹುಟ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಪ್ಪ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೆರೆಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅವರಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಇದನ್ನ ಮೂಡಿಸ್ಬೇಕು, ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು ವಿಚಾರಗಳನ್ನು. ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಸಂಪಾದಕ ಕೆರೆ ಯಾವ ತರ ಇದು ಆಯ್ತಾ, ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಯಾವ ತರ ಹೋಯ್ತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಅದನ್ನ ನಮ್ಮ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆರೆಗಳು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರಪ್ಪ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಕೆರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಕೆರೆಗೆ ಲಿಂಕ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತಿತ್ತು. ಆ ತರ ಲಿಂಕ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಆ ಲಿಂಕ್ ಆಗಿ ನಮ್ಗೆಲ್ಲ ಕುಡಿಯೋ ನೀರು ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಿತ್ತು. ಸೊ ದಿನೇ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಏನಾಗ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಇವತ್ತಿಗೆ ಆ ಸಂಪಂಗಿ ಕೆರೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಕಂಠೀರವ ಸ್ಟೇಡಿಯಂ ಆಗಿ ಏನೋ ಮಾರ್ಪಡಲ್ಪಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಅವರ್ ನೆಗ್ಲಿಜೆನ್ಸ್. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಗೋಸ್ಕರ ನಾವು ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಗಿಡ ಮರಗಳನ್ನು ಕಡಿದು ಅದರಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಬಿಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಕಟ್ಟಿಸಿ ನಾವೇನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಈಗ ಕಂಠೀರವ ಸ್ಟೇಡಿಯಂ ಆಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಕೆರೆಗಳು ಇದೆ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಹಾಕಿ ಸ್ಟೇಡಿಯಂ ಆದಂತಹ ಧರ್ಮ ಬುದ್ಧಿ ಕೆರೆ ಅಂತೇಳಿ, ಆ ಧರ್ಮ ಬುದ್ಧಿ ಕೆರೆಯಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು ಕೆರೆ ಇತ್ತು ಈ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ, ಅದನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಇವತ್ತು ಹಾಕಿ ಸ್ಟೇಡಿಯಂ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಕೂಡ ಅದನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಯಾವ ತರ ಬೆಳೆಸ್ಬೇಕಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೆರೆಗಳ ನಿರ್ಮಾಣ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ಮತ್ತೆ ಜನರಲ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಅವೇರ್ನೆಸ್ ತರಬೇಕಂತೇಳಿ ನನ್ನೊಂದು ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯ. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ನಾನು ಒಂದು ಸರ್ವೆ ಮಾಡಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ನಾನು ಒಂದು ಹೋಗಿ ನನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯ ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಲು ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಚಿಕ್ಕಬಾಣವ ಕೆರೆ ಅಂತೇಳಿ, ಆ ಚಿಕ್ಕಬಾಣವ ಕೆರೆ ನಾನು ಕೊರೋನಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋದಾಗ ಅದು ನೋಡೋದು ಅಷ್ಟು ಹೊಲಸು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಆ ಕೆರೆ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ನಾನು ಸ್ಮೆಲ್ ನೋಡಿ 2-3 ದಿವಸ ಆ ಜಡ್ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಡಿಸೀಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಬಿದ್ದಿದ್ದೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಹೊಲಸಾಗಿ ಅಷ್ಟು ಪೊಲ್ಯೂಟೆಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ರ. ಅದಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಜನರು ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲೋ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ತಂದು ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ತಂದು ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿ, ಈವನ್ ಡಂಪಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಕೂಡ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಂಟರ್ ಡಂಪಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಕೂಡ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಕೆರೆಯಲ್ಲೇ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಆ ಕೆರೆ ನೀರು ಕುಡಿಯೋಕೆ ಯೋಗ್ಯತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಾರಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಾರೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ಕೆರೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನಗಳು ನಿರ್ಲಕ್ಷ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಆ ಕೆರೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನೂರಾರು ಸಾವಿರಾರು ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ವೇಸ್ಟಸ್ ಅನ್ನ, ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿಯಲ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಹೌಸ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಚೆಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗ ಕಲುಷಿತಗೊಂಡಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಪರಿಹಾರ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ನಾವು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸೀವೇಜ್ ಟ್ರೀಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ನೀರನ್ನ ನಾವು ಬಿಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬ ನಾಗರಿಕರು ನೀರಿನ ಮುಖ್ಯತೆ ಏನು ಅನ್ನೋದು, ನೀರು ಮತ್ತೆ ಕೆರೆಗಳ ಮುಖ್ಯತೆ, ಅದರದ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಏನು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಅವರಲ್ಲಿ ಅವೇರ್ನೆಸ್ ಹುಟ್ಟಿಸ್ಬೇಕಂತೇಳಿ ಇವೆರಡು ನಾವು ಕೆರೆಗಳ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಪ್ರತಿ ಸಲ ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು ನೀರು ಹಾರ್ವೆಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವಾಟರ್ ಹಾರ್ವೆಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅನ್ನ ನಾವು ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ನೀರನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಉಳಿಸಬಹುದು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಒಂದು ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯ. ಇದು ನೀರಿನಗೋಸ್ಕರ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಫುಡ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆಹಾರ ಮತ್ತು ಕೃಷಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಲು ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಇವತ್ತಿನ ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು, ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷರು ಬಂದು ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು ಕೆಮಿಕಲ್ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೇ ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ದಿಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷರು ಬಂದು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿರಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೆಮಿಕಲ್ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಅವ್ರು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಆಲೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟೋದ್ರು. ಯಾಕೆ ಇದು ನಾವು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಅದು ರೂಢಿಯಾಗಿ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟೆ. ನಮ್ಗೆ ಟ್ರೆಡಿಷನಲ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಿಲ್ಲ. ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಹೆಂಡಿ ಗೊಬ್ಬರ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ವಿ, ತಿಪ್ಪಿ ಗೊಬ್ಬರ ಹಾಕಿ ಅದರಲ್ಲೇ ಹೆಂಡಿ ಗೊಬ್ಬರ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು, ನಮ್ಮ ಆಡು ಗಿಡ ಹಾಕಿದಂತ ಗೊಬ್ಬರನ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ವಿ ನಾವು ಹೆಂಡಿ ಗೊಬ್ಬರ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಾವು ಹೊಲದಾಗ ಹಾಕಿ ಅದನ್ನೇ ಇದು ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತಿದ್ವಿ. ಬಟ್ ಈಗಿನ ಕಾಲದಾಗ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ರಾಸಾಯನಿಕ ಗೊಬ್ಬರ ಮೇಲೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಆರುವಂತ ಪರಿಣಾಮಗಳು ಇನ್ನೂ ಕೂಡ ರೈತರಿಗೆ ಅದರದ್ದು ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವೇರ್ನೆಸ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಇನ್ನೂ ಕೂಡ ರೈತರಿಗೆ ಅದರದ್ದು ಪರಿಚಯ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಇನ್ನೂ ಕೂಡ ಅದರ ರೈತರಿಗೆ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದು ಕೂಡ ಜ್ಞಾನವನ್ನು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನಾವು ಅದು ಅವೇರ್ನೆಸ್ ಮೂಡಿಸುತ್ತ ಕೆಲಸ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬ ಪ್ರಜೆಗೂ ಕೂಡ, ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬ ರೈತರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಹಳ್ಳಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು ಕೂಡ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ದುಡ್ಡು ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಇರ್ತೈತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಅದು ಕೂಡ ಕೆಮಿಕಲ್ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸರ್ಸ್ ಒಂದು ದುಡ್ಡಿನಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಅವ್ರು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಪ್ಪ, ಕೆಮಿಕಲ್ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸರ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅದನ್ನೇ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಬಯೋ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸರ್ಸ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ನಾವು ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಪರಿಹಾರ ಏನ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೇವೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಬಯೋ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸರ್ಸ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ತನ್ನ ಗಾರ್ಡನ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ತನ್ನ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬ ಈ ಸಿಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಸಿಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಡ್ರೈ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಸಪರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡೋರು ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಾಕಿ ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. BBMP ಅವ್ರು ಬರ್ತಾರೆ ಗಾಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿ. ಬಟ್ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಇನೋವೇಟಿವ್ಸ್ ನಾನೊಂದು ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದ್ರ ಒಂದು ಡಿವೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ ತರ ಇದು ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವೆಟ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಡ್ರೈ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಸಪರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಆಟೋಮೆಟಿಕ್ ಆದ ಡಂಪಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅನ್ನು ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು, ಮತ್ತೆ ವೆಟ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನು ನಾವೇನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲೇ ಅದನ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲೇ ಗಾರ್ಡನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನಾವು ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲೇ ಮರ ಗಿಡಗಳನ್ನ ಬೆಳೆಸಬಹುದು. ಈ ತರ ನಾವೇನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೃಷಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಲು ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೀನಿ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫುಡ್ ಆಹಾರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು. ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಆಹಾರ ಯಾವ ತರ ತಿಂತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಅವ್ರು ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಪ್ಯಾಕಿಂಗ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಫುಲ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಅವರು ಸುಡೋದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಗರಂ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದಂತ ಸುಡೋ ವಸ್ತುಗಳನ್ನ ಸಡನ್ ಆಗಿ ಪ್ಯಾಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹಂಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದು ಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್. ಆ ಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಮೆಲ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಅದರಿಂದ ನಾವು ಅದೇ ಫುಡ್ ನಾವು ಹೊಟ್ಟೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ತಿಂತೀವಿ. ಆ ಹೊಟ್ಟೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ತಿಂದು ಮತ್ತೆ ಏನಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಹೊಟ್ಟೆ ಗ್ಯಾಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಇದಾಗಿದೆ, ಅದಾಗಿದೆ. ಯಾಕೆ? ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಟ್ ರೀಸನ್, ಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬ ಯುವ ನಾಗರಿಕರು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ತಾವು ತಿನ್ನೋ ಆಹಾರ ಆ ತರ ಹೋಟೆಲ್ ತರುವಂತ ಆಹಾರನ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬರು ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ತಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತ ಪಾತ್ರೆಗಳನ್ನು ತಗೊಂಡೋಗಿ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ತರುವಂತ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಅಂದಾಗ ಮಾತ್ರ ನಾವು ಈ ಫುಡ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಆಹಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು, ನಮ್ಮ ಫುಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು ಅಂತ ಇದೊಂದು ನನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯ, ಇದೊಂದು ಪರಿಹಾರ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ನಾನು ಇದು ಯಾಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಮುಂದೆ ಇದೆ ಅದಮ್ಯ ಚೇತನ ಅಂತೇಳಿ. ಅದು ಅದಮ್ಯ ಚೇತನ ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ನೀವು ನೋಡಿರ್ಬೋದು, 50,000 ಜನಗಳಿಗೆ ಒನ್ ಡೇ ಟೈಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಊಟ. ಅವರು 50,000 ಜನ ಪರ್ ಡೇ. ಸೊ ಅದು ಯಾವ ತರ ಅವರು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದು ನೇಚರ್ ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪರಿಸರ ಸ್ನೇಹಿಯಾಗಿ ಏನೇನ್ ಬೇಕೋ ಅದೇ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸೋಲಾರ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತಾರೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿದ್ದ ಬಯೋಗ್ಯಾಸ್ ಇಂದ ಅವ್ರು ಕುಕಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಸಿಟಿ ಅವ್ರು ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಸೋಲಾರ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತಾರೆ. ಅಕ್ಕಿ ತೊಳೆದ ನೀರನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಅವ್ರು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಚೆಲ್ಲೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅವರು ಅದನ್ನ ಗಿಡಗಳಿಗೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಯಾವ್ದು ಕೂಡ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ರು ಕೂಡ ಅದಮ್ಯ ಚೇತನ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಈ ಒಂದು ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಆ ಒಂದು ಹೋಟೆಲ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ನ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಈ ಪರಿಸರ ನಾವು ಉಳಿಸ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ನನ್ನೊಂದು ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ಬೇಕಪ್ಪ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಮೇಜರ್ ಆಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್, ನಮ್ಮ ಸೊಸೈಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಪಟಾಕಿಗಳು. ಸೊ ಇದು ಯಾರು ಕೂಡ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲ್ಲ ಎಷ್ಟು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಈ ಪಟಾಕಿದಿಂದ ಅಂತ. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಜನ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಬೇರೆ ಒಂದು ಸೈಂಟಿಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಭಾರತ ದೇಶನ ಒಂದು ದೀಪಾವಳಿ ದಿವಸ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಭಾರತ ದೇಶ ಕಾಣಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹೊಗೆಗಳ ದೇಶ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಹೊಗೆ ಆ ಪಟಾಕಿಲಿದ್ದ ಅವತ್ತು ಆ ಒಂದು ಡೇ ದೀಪಾವಳಿ ದಿವಸ. ನಾನು ದೀಪಾವಳಿ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಪಟಾಕಿ ಯಾಕೆ ಬೇಕು? ದೇವ್ರು ನಮಗೆ ಪಟಾಕಿನ ಹೊಡಿ ಅಂತ ಯಾರು ಹೇಳಿಲ್ಲ, ದೀಪ ಹಚ್ಚಿದ್ರೆ ಸಾಕು. ಬಟ್ ಪಟಾಕಿಲಿದ್ದು ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ಕೂಡ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಅದನ್ನಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಪರಿಹಾರ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ನನ್ನ ಇನ್ನೋವೇಟಿವ್ಸ್ ಐಡಿಯಾಸ್ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಈ ಪಟಾಕಿಲಿಂದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ಏನು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡೋಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಪಟಾಕಿಲಿಂದ ಆಗುವಂಥ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್, ನಮಗೆ ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ಪೇಷಂಟ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಸಾಯೋದು ಗ್ಯಾರಂಟಿ, ಅದರ ಡೆತ್ ರೇಟ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಇನ್ನೊಂದೇನಪ್ಪ, ವೃದ್ಧರು ಮತ್ತು ಮಕ್ಕಳು, ಇವರಿಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ಇದು ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ಪೇಷಂಟ್, ವೃದ್ಧರು, ಇಂಥವ್ರಿಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಗಳು, ಇವನ್ ಉಸಿರಾಟದ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಇರೋರು ಕೂಡ ಈ ಪಟಾಕಿನಿಂದ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಜನ ಸಾವನ್ನಪ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಹೇಗೆ ರೀತಿ ತಡೆಯಬೇಕಂತೇಳಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಸ್ವತಃ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ 2017ರಲ್ಲಿ ಪಟಾಕಿ ಕೂಡ ಬ್ಯಾನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು. ಬಟ್ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ಬ್ಯಾನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಜನ ಕೇಳಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ನಾವೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಪಟಾಕಿ ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ ನಮಗೆ ಅಂತ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಬಟ್ ಅದು ಬ್ಯಾನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ಇನ್ನೋವೇಟಿವ್ ಐಡಿಯಾಸ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು CSIR ನೀರಿ ಅವರ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಪರಿಸರ ಸ್ನೇಹಿ ಪಟಾಕಿಯನ್ನು ಮತ್ತೆ ಅವರು ತಯಾರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು 2018ರಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಅವಾಗ 2018ರಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಗ್ರೀನ್ ಪಟಾಕಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಗ್ರೀನ್ ಕ್ರ್ಯಾಕರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಆ ಗ್ರೀನ್ ಪಟಾಕಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪರಿಸರ ಸ್ನೇಹಿ ಪಟಾಕಿಗಳು, ಅದನ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಇದರಿಂದ ಯಾವ್ದು ಹಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ಪಟಾಕಿಯಿಂದ ಏನೇನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಲಿಥಿಯಂ ಮತ್ತೆ ಆರ್ಸೆನಿಕ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಾವಿರಾರು ರಾಸಾಯನಿಕ ಗ್ಯಾಸಸ್ ಅನಿಲಗಳು ಏನಪ್ಪ ಉತ್ಪತ್ತಿಯಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇವರು ಪರಿಸರ ಸ್ನೇಹಿ ಪಟಾಕಿಗಳನ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಮತ್ತೆ 2018ರಲ್ಲಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಬ್ಯಾನ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ಯಾವ್ದು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಬಟ್ ಅದು ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪರಿಸರ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತ ಗ್ರೀನ್ ಏನಂತೀವಿ ನಾವು ಪಟಾಕಿ ಕ್ರ್ಯಾಕರ್ಸ್ ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಅಂತೇಳಿ. ಬಟ್ ಇವತ್ತಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಗ್ರೀನ್ ಕ್ರ್ಯಾಕರ್ಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ, ಅದೇ ಪಟಾಕಿಗಳನ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಮತ್ತೆ ಅದೇ ಪೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ಸ್ ನ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರ. ಸೊ ಇದ್ರದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅವೇರ್ನೆಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪಟಾಕಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಪಟಾಕಿನಿಂದ ಎಷ್ಟು ಇದಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಈ ಒಂದು ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ 10 ಗಂಟೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಪಟಾಕಿ ಹೊಡಿಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, ಈವನ್ 1 ಗಂಟೆವರೆಗೆ ಪಟಾಕಿ ಹೊಡಿತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಬ್ಯಾನ್ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಅದರ ಮೇಲೆ ಕ್ರಮಗಳು ಕೈಗೊಳ್ಳೋದನ್ನ ನಮ್ಮ ಎಲ್ಲರ ಹೊಣೆಯಾಗಿ, ಯಾರೇ ಆಗ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬ ಪ್ರಜೆಯಾದ ಸಿಟಿಸನ್ಸ್ ಒಂದು ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಕರ್ತವ್ಯ ಕೂಡ ಹೌದು. ನಮ್ಮ ಪರಿಸರದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗುವಂತ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಅವರೇ ಸ್ವತಃ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಗಿ ಹುಡುಕುವಂತ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಕೊನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಲು ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೇನೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಪರಿಹಾರಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು. ಬಟ್ ಪರಿಹಾರಗಳು ನಾವು ಕೂಡ ಇನ್ಸ್ಪೈರ್ ಆಗಿ ತಗೋಬೇಕು. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ಇದಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಅವೇರ್ನೆಸ್ಸೇ ಬೇಕಾ ಸರ್? ಅದು ಬೇಡ, ಅವೇರ್ನೆಸ್ ಕೂಡ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಏನು ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ನಮಗೆ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬ ಹಳ್ಳಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣದ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಪರಿಸರ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ತುಂಬಾ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಇನ್ನೂವರೆಗೂ ಪರಿಸರ ಅವೇರ್ನೆಸ್ ಇನ್ನೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಬ್ಬರು ಹಳ್ಳಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ನೂ ಕೂಡ ಕೆಲ್ಸಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ, ಹೊಲಕ್ಕೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬರತ್ನಾಗ ಕಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಕಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು. ನಮ್ಮವ್ವ ಎಲ್ಲ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಬರತ್ನಾಗ ಮನೆಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಸೌದೆ ತಂಬರ್ತಾರೆ ಒಲೆಗೆ ಹಚ್ಚಕ್ಕೆ. ಬಟ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನು ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂತೇಳಿ. ಅಂತವ್ರಿಗೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ ಸರ್ ನಾವು ಹಂಗಾದ್ರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ನಂದು ಒಂದು ಪರಿಹಾರ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಅಂತವ್ರಿಗೊಂದು ಸಾಲು ಮರದ ತಿಮ್ಮಕ್ಕ ಅಂತ ಒಬ್ಬ ಮಹಿಳೆಯವ್ರದ್ದು ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇದ್ರದ್ದು ಇನ್ಸ್ಪಿರೇಷನ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅವರು ಓದಿಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಓದಿರ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಂದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಪರಿಸರ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಎಷ್ಟಿತ್ತು ನೋಡಿ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಓದಿಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಅಂದ್ರೆ 8,000ಗಳು ಹೆಚ್ಚಕ್ಕೂ ಅವರು ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಗಿಡಗಳನ್ನ ಅವ್ರು ನೆಟ್ಟರು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಒಂದು ಮರಳಿದ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ನಾವು ಪ್ರಾಣಿ ಪಕ್ಷಿಗಳನ್ನ ಮತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಆಗುವಂತ ಪರಿಸರ ಆಗುವಂತ ಮಾಲಿನ್ಯಗಳನ್ನು ತಡೆಗಟ್ಟಬಹುದು ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ಸ್. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬ ಹಳ್ಳಿಗಳ ಜನರು ಅಟ್ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಹೇಳಕ್ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಹಳ್ಳಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಅವೇರ್ನೆಸ್ ಯಾವ ತರ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಾರೆ, ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ರು ಕೂಡ ಒಬ್ಬ ಮುಸ್ಲಿಂ, ಒಬ್ಬ ಹಿಂದೂ, ತಮ್ಮ ಗುಡಿಗಳು, ದೇವಸ್ಥಾನಗಳು, ಮಂದಿರಗಳು, ಮಸೀದಿಗಳನ್ನ ಮತ್ತು ಚರ್ಚ್ಗಳನ್ನ ಕಟ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಅದೇ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ತಮ್ಮ ಊರಲ್ಲಿ 100 ಗಿಡಗಳು ಹಚ್ಚಲು ಇಷ್ಟಪಟ್ರೆ, ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬರು ಹಳ್ಳಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ತರ ಇಷ್ಟಪಟ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ನೇಷನ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಈ ತರ ಹೇಳಿ ನಾನು ಒಂದೆರಡು ಮಾತುಗಳನ್ನು ಮುಗಿಸುತ್ತೇನೆ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು, ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು.
Nisar Ahmed, thank you. So we'll move to the next presentation from Abhilash Sachdev. He is also going to talk on nature-based solution. Abhilash, you can speak either for or against. Choice is yours. So please go ahead. Good luck.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
All right.
Switch on the video.
Okay. So, so the topic which I have been assigned is nature-based solutions. And I am Abhilash Sachdeva. Our planet is facing triple global challenges of biodiversity loss, climate change, and equitable development. Around a million of animals, plant species are now threatened with extinction, and more than uh, even before in human history. And the climate emergency is exposing millions of people to extreme heat waves, threatening food, water supplies, and could leave a billion of people affecting by the sea level rise. With decades of uh, with decades along with the severe other impacts. At the same point, half of the world GDP is depending on the efficient, sustainable use of natural assets and its services in the sectors such as agriculture, fisheries, forestry, and tourism. Most importantly, at this point, nature-based solutions are an opportunity to address these problems and ensure nature positive future by providing essential services such as carbon storage, assuring food and water supplies, buffering against the impact of warming world. Nature-based solution harness to the power of nature to boost the natural ecosystem, biodiversity, and human well-being to address the major societal issue, including the vital climate change. The solution covers a broad range of actions to protect, restore, and sustainably manage the landscape, seascapes, watersheds, and urban areas, so they can tackle the challenges such as food and water security and climate change, disaster risk, and human health, and whatnot. Examples include forests that can provide nurseries to the fish and protect a nearby home against the storm damages, from protecting salt marshes to restore on the forest habitats to natural-based solutions are already in an operation like all across the world. Indigenous people, um, let it be in India or worldwide communities, have used natural-based solutions for the millennia. It is crucial that all the solutions that are people centric, lead by communities to draw from the traditional and local knowledge. The natural based solution must be inclusive, transparent, and developed with a respect to land right and respect to the local people who live and whose lifestyle depends on that location. In 2022, a landmark decision was taken by the United Nations Environmental Assembly, formally recognized as the natural-based solution, and it defines a natural-based solution or NBS to be as action to protect, conserve, restore, sustainably use of natural and modified terrestrial, freshwater, coastal, marine ecosystem, which address social, economic, and environmental challenges effectively and adaptively with the stimulus of providing human well-being, ecosystem services, and resilience towards the biodiversity and the human benefits. Um, and this is just not it. So there are numerous challenges which are faced by the natural-based solutions can cater to. First of all, we can't escape the climate change adaptation and disaster risk prediction, helping people and the nature to adapt to the warming of the world by preventing new and reducing existing climate hazards and strengthening the resilience of the future risk. Second one can be a human health, benefiting mental and physical well-being and reducing the transfer of diseases caused by the destruction of habitat or the consumption and commercialization of the wildlife. Food security, again a vital thing for the humankind, ensuring people to have access of sufficient, safe, and nutritious food that meets their dietary needs, food preferences for an active and a healthy life to sustain. Food water security, providing sustainable and access of adequate quality of water to sustain livelihood. Human uh, human well-being development, protect against disasters and preserve ecosystem. And point at this point of time, what I feel the most relevant thing is the climate change mitigation, which is nature plays an important role in the global climate system. When operating system, the natural-based solution can reduce the need of the use of untested methods to capture and store the carbon. According to the Global Assessment Report on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services, summary for the policymakers, estimate the estimate suggests that nature-based solutions can provide up to 37% of mitigation needed until 2030 to achieve the target of the Paris Agreement. And around 170 billion USD estimates global benefits in the ecosystem services from nature-based solutions focusing on the climate. Uh, One study found that less than 10% of the funding of the climate adaptation is in the least developed countries and nations on, and around 15% of the projects in the developing countries went into the project to harness the nature, which is a point of concern. Uh, and not just that, the natural based solution is don't just end at a concept. There are numerous concepts related to it, but most importantly, it have a solution. Solutions like the growing trees. It can be a one, which is growing trees is a solution to the mirage of contemporary challenges, chief among mitigating the climate change. Trees are planted so they can absorb the carbon dioxide, and scientists even estimate that around 1.7 billion hectares of current land, treeless lands, have a potential to for tree growth. As a nature-based solution, example, tree can be planted also to sustain important assist in improving the biodiversity, soil, air, and air quality. Renewable energy can be again a one example to it, which is a type of renewable energy could be used for the NBS, including the solar, wind, and hydroelectrical biofuels. The advantage of renewables are empty of there are a lot of things. For starters, renewable energy producers emits less emissions as compared to the fossil fuels. And beekeeping, as the solution, beekeeping does tick most of the boxes when evaluated against the sustainable development goals. uh, Beekeeping can achieve more than half of the SDGs in itself. And the sad news is the bees are disappearing. Yet they are the vital component of our ecosystem. For instance, they have a significance in pollination, thus leading to the food security, and their contribution to our world is it can't be measured. Ecotourism can be a solution to it, is a part of it. Um, is it possible to travel to benefit the local communities and environment at the same time? Have we ever imagined? Yes, it can be. When we practice ecotourism, communities and the conservation benefits together. The International Ecotourism Society defines it as responsible travel to natural areas that conserve the environment and sustain the well-being of the local people and involves the interpretation and education. And there's a new concept under NPS, which is called as payment for ecosystem services. A central principle of payment for ecosystem services, or PES, is the environmental service beneficiaries to pay for the conservation of the same resources. Under the PES scheme, farmers, landowners receive a payment yeah, after implementing the previous agreed action that they provide the ecological service. And carbon financing, or commonly we call it as REDD plus project, which is an example of a PES. It is inevitable for the companies to emit carbon into the atmosphere. Regardless, responsible emitters have option to buy carbon credits from the voluntary market in the carbon financing. For instance, companies purchase credits from the verified REDD, which stands for Reduced Emission for Deforestation and Forest Degradation projects. Deforestation is responsible for around 15% of the GHG's emission. Thus, stopping the deforestation is a significant part of the carbon equation. Remember that around 80% of the above ground terrestrial carbon stocks and around 40% of the soil carbon is stored in the forest ecosystem. And there are numerous other like the protected areas, avoiding plastic, agroforestries, green roof, which is again uh, a new concept, which refers to the vegetation cover grown over our rooftops. They can be called as the rooftop garden, as a rooftop garden or the living roof. The nature-based solution is an example of particularly relevant for the urban dwellers. Green roof helps reduce the energy cost as they insulate the building. Moreover, they assist in reducing the runoff of the storms and the snow in the areas. Urban garden, green spaces, organic farming, these are quite known things to in the humankind. And even the green infrastructure, which the United States Environmental Protection Agency defined green infrastructure as the range of measures that use plants or soil systems, primarily pavement for the other permeable surface or the substrates, stormwater harvest and reuse of the landscaping to store effluents for of or evaporization storms to reduce the flow of the sewer system or the surface water. And the green economy, how can we even think of anything without a green economy? The end game of the natural based solution is the transition to the green economy. The focus of the green economy is to sustainable consumption and production, sustainable inclusion, resources efficiency, and reduce emission. However, it is important to it is a vital thing for us in India. Uh, have been using this adopting to this technology, this method for centuries, and now it is a time to learn from it and go back to our roots. Thank you. That's all from my side.
Thank you, Abhilash. So we'll move to the next presentation by Rahul Pandey. He's going to talk on waste management. Rahul, you have 15 minutes to go. You can speak either for or against. So please start your presentation. You can switch on the video. Rahul.
So good morning, everyone present here. In favor of the
good morning.
waste
You are
management,
audible.
that yes, it is a problem, and how so before addressing the ways to conquer the waste we are producing, we first need to know that how the waste is generating in the entire world, and what is the scenario, and how it is different in the different parts of the world. So if we talk about the entire world, then we are creating 2.01 billion tons of waste per year. And if we talk about the share, then it is higher of the Asia in comparison with the other continents like Europe and even Africa. Although Africa is means it's developing, but they are creating less waste in comparison with us. Their per capita waste is although it's varying per capita to more than 1 kg per capita, but still in aggregate their waste is very less in comparison with Asia. If we talk about Asia only, then the entire Asia, the South Asia, the Southeast Asia, and the Central Asia, along with Europe, are creating a lot of
Rahul, I
solid
am
waste,
intervening
and their
here.
contribution is
Rahul, I am intervening here. Your
entire.
voice is breaking. Your voice is breaking. Please make sure the connectivity. And I think you restart the presentation. Please do not refer any reference material when you are presenting. Okay. Rahul, please make sure your net connectivity. And while presenting, please do not refer any literature or any other aid. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You can restart your presentation.
Am I audible now?
Yes, you are audible, clear. Is it a problem here or? Rahul, you are still not audible.
How it is spread all over the world. About the problem that
Still not clear. Rahul, still not clear.
sir, there is network issue. Now is it okay?
Now it is clear.
Yes, sir. So
Please start.
I'm addressing the problem means. So I'll be talking initially about the regional distribution of the waste, which is created in the entire world. So I was talking about that it is highest in Asia in comparison with all other continents or all other regions in the world. In Asia also, the entire Asia along with Europe is creating the lots of waste, and their contribution is highest even more than the Africa. Africa is in the phase where which is even below us in the demographic transition, but even though they are producing less waste in comparison with us, in future they might produce more waste in comparison with us. Us means I'm talking about the Asia. So if we talk about Asia again, then it is high in South Asia and Southeast Asia, where we are producing a lots of waste, solid waste every year. In the aggregate in world, it's 2.01 billion tons per year, which is going to be more than 5 billion tons per year by 2050. So the problem need to be corrected not only for the future, for the sustainable development, but for the current scenario also, because it is creating a lots of problem related to respiratory diseases, infections, and along with it, it is creating air pollution, water contamination, and soil contamination also. So it's a problem for the entire world, not for the India, not for the local people, but for the entire world. But there is a scenario in which we can distribute the kind of waste the world is generating. It is different in different income groups, in different level of development. If we compare it with the GDP, then the per capita waste generation is high with the countries who have more GDP in comparison with the countries who have less in GDP. This scenario is common with almost all the countries of the world. If we talk about the income groups, that the higher income groups have a different kind of waste they are generating. It's more about e-waste and dry waste. In comparison with it, the which are low income groups, they are generating the wet waste, the biodegradable waste much. The biodegradable waste in the entire world is contributing about 43% of the total waste generated, which is a high amount. And the oxides of carbon which are produced by this kind of waste is supporting the greenhouse emission very highly. About 5% of the greenhouse gases which are increasing is only because of this organic waste. So there are various ways by which these waste can be managed. These are if we talk about the costly one, these are pyrolysis, in which the waste is converted to liquid and then gaseous form, and this gas can be used. But these methods are not very popular, and these are costly as well. So not for the developed countries like India. These are using in the developed countries which are like in Europe. In Asia, the most of the waste is going to the landfill, the dumps and landfills. Some of part of it is going to it, but it is unplanned at all. So it needs to be planned and to be treated well. There are various methods which are introduced in the regional level, such as there is a step in Panji where the locals are working with the government to manage their waste. The other example from the world is of Japan, where the people are doing the same by supporting their governments. Although this step is not, it's very minute in comparison with the high produced waste in the entire world, but it is contributing much in the world, and also it can contribute if it is it is taken in the other regions of the world also. If we talk about the waste which is going to the better treatment plants, then it is around 42% only. About 58% of the total waste is going to the unspecified landfills and open dumps, which is further creating problems like water contamination, soil contamination of the region, and also the acid rain kind of things. So the techniques which can be helped is some techniques which are introduced in the past are the bioplastic, which is made up of the things which are biodegradable, but the plastic is not completely biodegradable because its bond again with the carbon bond is very strong, and it is not easily breakable. It needs some time to break, again, like the natural plastic, the plastic we are getting from the petroleum. So it is not a complete substitute of it. And again, a researcher in 2016 in his research found that about 56% of the total sugarcane produced in the entire world is needed to remove or to replace the entire plastic of the world. So it is not a complete solution, but up to a certain extent we can use it. The other problem is of microplastic, which is spreading in all over the world and in almost every part of the earth. It is in the oceans, also in the deep in the lithosphere, which is contaminating the soil, the groundwater, and the surface water of the world. So this problem is also need to be addressed, and something needed to be done for this also. Now, if I talk about the regional distribution, then the priorities are different based on the region. It is different for the countries which are developed, it is different for the countries which are developing, and also different for the countries who are underdeveloped. The developing countries and the underdeveloped countries, they have the problem of the wet waste more than in comparison with the dry waste. While it is high in the countries who are developed, they have the problem of wet waste, and most recently they have the problem of e-waste. So e-waste is also creating radiation, so it needs to be disposed in a very secure and safe manner. Otherwise it can create radiation and cause cancer in humans and other lives also. So if we are from India, and here the problem is high with the solid waste, which is biodegradable or wet waste, which we are creating much. So as one of my friend also suggested before, who was talking about the waste management only, that we can produce energy with the bio waste, but it is not economical. Yes, it is not economical, but in up to certain extent we can use it. Otherwise the managing that is going to be very difficult. It is we have not, till the time we do not have any such idea by which we can conquer this problem in the entire India. We have to take the steps on the regions, on the different regions, based on their waste they are producing, because it is different in the rural areas and urban areas. The waste in the urban areas is somewhere different from the rural areas, because in rural areas they have cattle and they are feeding the most of their waste from the kitchens to their kettles. And the problem is with this is not much. The problem is of dumping of the waste which is other than this, like the plastic waste. In comparison with this, in the urban areas, the waste is of both the biodegradable and non-biodegradable. As we can see in the Delhi, in Bangalore, and also in other parts of the country, like in Kolkata, where waste is dumped in the open areas, and it is creating so much of problems. It is polluting the air and also the water. So by the regional level, we can go up to the country level and again to the level of world. So how these problems can be conquered? There are certain ways by which we can do this. Some of them are the waste is a very basic process in which we can reduce the waste we are producing by reusing the things, and also by avoiding the things which are not very much necessary. The other step is of recycling, up to us, but the government or the people who are managing the entire waste of the region. So they can recycle the waste like the metal, the plastic waste, which can be recycled. So this will also create a less waste which is going to the dump sites. The third process which can help a lot in the recent past is the remote sensing and GIS. There are various ways by which this can be helpful in managing the waste. If you talk about remote sensing and GIS, it is a satellite-based analysis which can be done by just staying in a single place, and we can analysis a lot more part. Although we need ground truthing, but other than ground truthing, we can do it by sitting in a single place. So we have various analysis with the help of which, such as one such analysis is searching of waste disposal sites based on certain parameters. So by this, we can identify the waste disposal sites which are more suitable and which are harming less to the country. So like this, the remote sensing and GIS can help the waste management of the entire world and also for the India. So thank you very much. That's all.
Thank you, Rahul. So we'll move to the next presentation. Next presentation is by Aparna Haridas on marine pollution. Aparna?
Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Am I audible?
You can start. Yeah, you can start.
Okay, sir. 1 minute.
You have 15 minutes presentation. You will not refer any literature while presenting.
Okay, sir. So what is blue economy? Good morning, everyone. My name is Aparna Haridas, currently pursuing my master's in marine biology at Cochin University of Science and Technology, Kerala. Okay, so blue economy was first introduced by Professor Ganta Pauli in 1994 at United Nations University. According to the World Bank, blue economy is defined as the sustainable development of ocean resource for economic growth, improved livelihoods and jobs while preserving the health and ocean ecosystem. So today I'll be speaking for the blue economy. The blue economy represents enormous potential for sustained economic activity and job creation. The blue economy assumed greater importance after the Third Earth Summit conference at Rio de Janeiro 2012. It is to conserve and sustainably use the ocean, seas and marine resource for the sustainable development. One of the major challenges following the COVID-19 pandemic is the loss of livelihood and jobs. One of the ways for recovering the growth by blue economy. Value addition from the blue economy includes mainly from the coastal manufacturing and services, maritime trades and shipping and offshore and coastal energy, deep sea minerals, aquaculture and fisheries, and marine related technologies. While considering the case of India, India has unique maritime position. It has coastline around 7,517. Its coastline is around 7,517 kilometers long, 9 coastal states and 1,382 islands. And the country has 12 major ports and 187 non-major ports, handling about 1,400 million tons of cargo every year, and as 95% of India's trade by transits by sea. So India's exclusive economic zone, that is around 200 nautical mile or 2 million square kilometers, is rich in living and non-living resources and holds significantly recoverable resource of crude oil and recoverable resource of natural gas. The coastal economy also sustains over 4 million fishermen and other coastal communities. So with these vast maritime interests, the blue economy in India has vital relationship with the nation's economic growth. So the capture fishery, aquaculture, and seafood processing comes under the fisheries. And then the pharmaceutical, the chemical seaweed harvesting, seaweed production comes under the marine biotechnology field. Then the deep sea mining all comes under the mineral and oil gas. Offshore wind production and the tidal energy production all comes under the marine renewable energy, boat manufacturing, aquaculture technologies, net technologies, all comes under the marine manufacturing. Then the shipbuilding, repairing, all comes under the shipping port field. Then the marine tourism, it is an important field in the blue economy. It mainly includes scuba diving, snorkeling, sea walking, then the sea angling from the boats, all comes under the marine tourism. And also, education and research is an important field area of blue economy. I would like to speak more about the economic benefits regarding the aquaculture and fisheries sector, because it is the fastest growing sector in the world and it helps the food security. India is the third largest fisheries producing and second largest aquaculture nation in the world after China. In 2020, the world's total aquaculture production reached an all-time high of 122.6 million tons in live weight. By considering the capture fishery in 2020, global capture fisheries about 90 million, and in 2017 to 2018 is the maximum rate because of the catches of anchovy. Anchovy fish is the largest catch we caught from India. So, however, the long-term trend in global capture fisheries continues to be relatively stable. Catches have generally fluctuated between 86 million tons and 93 million tons per year since the late 1980s. In case of aquaculture, it's a culture-based fishery. Aquaculture is mainly controlled processing of the rearing, breeding, and harvesting of the aquatic species, both animals and plants, especially for the human consumption. Through it is controlled aquatic environment like the ocean, lakes, rivers, ponds, and streams. Freshwater aquaculture is mainly carried out in the fish ponds, while in the case of brackish water, it is mainly practiced in the coastal areas and everywhere, like coastal areas. In the marine culture, the marine culture or the maritime culture is mainly focused on the marine cages and the mollusk marine cages, and also in case of seaweed and mollusk, there is culture system like skates, ropes, and raft. All over the world, the demand for the seafood is increasing day by day. It accounts for more than 50% of the world market for fish and fish products. Today, people are more knowledgeable about the importance of aquaculture like seafood and its nutrients value. It's probably efficient means of protein production. It is a regular part of the food for better health and to fight the cardiovascular diseases, cancer, and many other diseases. Okay, so aquaculture adds to wild seafood and makes it cheaper and easily accessible to all, especially the countries which depend on the imported seafood only. So the importance of aquaculture can be described in many ways, like economic importance, social importance, and environmental importance, and all. So here today I'm speaking about the economical importance of the aquaculture and fisheries. So the importance of aquaculture and fisheries. The importance of aquaculture as a source of food is really indescribable. The fish and other seafood are great sources of protein for humans. They are also have greater extent of nutritional value. We get natural oils such as omega-3 fatty acids, which are essential for the health from fish. It offers us white meat, which is good for the blood in reducing or controlling the cholesterol level, as opposed to beef and other animal meat. Fish is also comparatively easier to keep processing rather than the meat producing other animals. Aquaculture is creating an increasing number of job potential job for the market, as it creates both new products and also new job facilities. So the economic importance of aquaculture is increasing day by day. Many value-adding fishery companies providing job for the women in the fisherman family. It's a great relief for them during the broadband period. Actually, 6,77,462 fisher families to get livelihood and nutritional support during the fishing ban and lean period, according to the Department of Fisheries, India. NIFAT is one of the companies which providing the job for the fisherman's wife during this broadband period. Actually, I visited the NIFAT. It is actually quite interesting to see the woman who's working under the national institution. So aquaculture provide alternative resources. Aquaculture is actually providing more alternative resources for fishing from the sea, and also enhance the demand for nutrients and food sources, and increase in the globalization has conducted enhancing fishing. At the same time, this has led fishermen to become selfish and overfish the wanted or high demand species. The cultivation of fish or aquaculture, it allows for both an alternative and chance for wild stock to refill over time. So many byproducts like gelatin, albumin, isinglass, shark fin grade, and also many byproduct like fish pickle, and cutlets, and the fillets, and fish fish fingers, and all fish flakes are also trending today. Fishery industries are the leading exporters of India or other countries in which frozen shrimp is highly exporting item. Through this, our government have high economic benefits. The Department of Fisheries of India implementing Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampad Yojana, a scheme to bring the blue revolution to sustainable and responsible development of fishery sector at an estimated investment of 2 crore 600 for holistic development of fisheries sector, including the welfare of fishers. Therefore, fisheries and aquaculture are important contributors of blue economy. The ocean has to play in strengthening resilience to economic and environmental disruptions. Investing in shipping and decarbonization, sustainable seafood production, and ocean-based renewable energy provides for better health outcomes, richer biodiversity, more secure jobs, and a safer planet for generation to come. So by this, I'm concluding my presentation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Aparna. Now we'll listen to Haripriya, who is going to speak on blue economy. Haripriya, you can switch on the video and audio.
Sir, am I audible?
You are audible.
Okay. A very good morning to everyone present here. Today, I'll be talking in favor of the blue economy concept. I'd like to start off by saying what blue economy is. Blue economy refers to the sustainable utilization of ocean resources in order to boost the employment sector, improve the livelihoods of people, and to boost the economy of a country, but keeping the ocean ecosystem's health in mind. So, in my speech, in my discussion, I'll be focusing on three major sectors which promote blue economy. The three ones being aquaculture, shipping industry, and renewable sources of energy. Since India has a vast coastline of around 7,500 kilometers and exclusive economic zones which spread over 2.2 million square kilometers of the ocean area, India has a high potential to use blue economy to boost the country's economy. Now, I'd like to elaborate on renewable sources of energy. As we all know that we are heavily dependent on coal-based fuels to meet with our energy demands, and we have to go for more green and safer alternatives to combat the crisis of energy and to combat problems like greenhouse gas emissions and global warming. Renewable sources of energy are one of the best alternatives in this case. The oceans offer us non-exhaustible sources of energy through tides and waves. And in order to harness this tidal energy, we could use three categories of technology, namely the tidal range technology, the tidal stream technology, and a hybrid of both these technologies to tap the tidal energy and ultimately obtain electric energy out of it. We can use devices like tidal kites, like the Archimedes screws, turbines, and tidal dams, tidal barrages, and tidal lagoons in order to achieve this purpose. Let me talk about tidal screws. So these are basically certain devices which are moored or attached to the seabed, and they are set into motion when the tidal energy, when the waves are in a minimum velocity of 2.5 meter per second. They flow in a figure-8 trajectory to capture maximum amount of water, and they have a turbine under their wing which rotates and generates electric energy. A marine technology company called the marine technology company has developed a tidal kite named Deep Green, which works even with lesser velocity of the waves and generate more than 700 times of energy as generated by a rotor, which is fixed on which is stationary on a seabed. Next, I'd like to talk about tidal barrages. These barrages employ tidal range technology, which utilize the potential difference between the high tide and the low tide to generate electric energy. So when the water is in the high tide, you can store it across artificially constructed barriers called barrages across the rivers and estuaries. In order to you can store them and then force it into rotors, force it into hydro turbines to rotate them and generate electric energy. And we also have hybrid forms of technology, which like the DTP, dynamic tidal powers, which use the height difference between the two waves to generate potential energy, and the turbines to generate electric energy. Such solutions become very important to reduce our dependency on coal-based fuels and combat the climate change problems. The next sector I'd be talking about will be aquaculture. Aquaculture refers to the cultivation of any aquatic species, be it fishes, molluscans, crustaceans, or algal species, in controlled aquatic environments for commercial purposes. So, depending upon how we utilize this technique, we could decide whether it's very detrimental to the environment, and or it could be both profitable to the human beings and to the environment. So let me give you two instances. For say, we are cultivating salmon fishes at a large scale in bays using chemicals and antibiotics to enhance their growth. Then we'd be contributing to eutrophication and water pollution just for our profit. And it will also disrupt the natural prey-predator balance in that area, because you'll be using the native species of fishes to feed these salmons. And it is basically for our profit, we'll be disrupting the way how things work naturally in that area. But you could do the same thing in a different way. You could still gain profit out of it, and you could not harm the environment by using the biofloc technology, which converts the waste of these fishes, waste generated by these fishes, and the untouched feed of the fishes to actual feed, which could be utilized to grow these fishes instead of being heavily dependent on the native species. You could also grow filter feeder organisms um, like mussels, oysters, to which are not only beneficial for us, but also help in treating the water and improving the water quality. These organisms not only help us, but also prevent conditions like water pollution and eutrophication. And yes, we could use mangrove trees as well, which trap the nutrient content and offer oligotrophic waters for the cultivation of other species. Then we have the cultivation of microalgae. Microalgae is very beneficial for the environment because of its superior carbon sequestration ability, and it is beneficial to us as human beings because it is one of the best and most opted alternative sources to provide to manufacture biodiesel, because of its high lipid yield and high photosynthetic ability and high biomass. So than the traditional growth of autotrophic plants, you could go for growing microalgae to achieve all of these benefits. Now, I'd like to talk about renewables. I'd like to conclude by saying that we could tap blue economy and generate um, uh, profits, and also keep the environment in mind, and make sure that it leaves as less as effects as possible, negative impacts on the environment as possible. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Haripriya. So now let's move on to the next presentation by Asta Shetty on water sustenance. Asta?
Yes, sir. Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
you can. You can switch on the video, and you will speak without referring any literatures. Okay.
Yes, sir. Good morning. I'm Astha Shetty. We all know that water is very essential, but for most of us, we think that it is unlimited. In reality, fresh water is a finite resource that is rapidly becoming scarce. India's warming climate right now is drying up lakes and rivers, while the rapid urbanization and the water pollution is putting an enormous pressure on the quality and quantity of groundwater and surface water. The country's fragile agricultural system still depends primarily on the rainfall, and a bad monsoon season can wreak havoc on the national economy. History tells us that floods and droughts were a very common occurrence in the ancient India. Perhaps this is why every region has its own traditional water harvesting technique that reflects upon the geographical peculiarities and the cultural techniques that were used in the area. This is a basic concept that basically works on the principle that wherever there is rainfall, capture it, harvest it in wherever and whatever forms you can. Ancient India, and currently there are many water harvesting techniques that were used, such as johads, kattas, traditional bamboo harvesting. In Karnataka specifically, Kalyanis, Kunte, Gokatte, Katte, and ponds are some traditional water harvesting structures that are used. There was a report by the KSCST that was on the assessment of traditional water harvesting systems, measures for rejuvenation in Karnataka. According to it, it studied around 13,250 TWHS in the state. It observed its physical and hydrological status. According to the report, nearly 25% of the TWHS were in good conditions and were currently being used. Nearly 35% of it were not used because the structure was not in good condition. Nearly 40% of it had some water, whereas 60% of it had no water for various reasons. Encroaching in certain areas were also seen. There was blockage in some inlets, and also the structures did not have water due to either high rainfall or erratic rainfall and water depletion. According to this, there were certain restoration and rejuvenation methods that were suggested. Some of them include clean inlet feeding channels to bail out the contaminated stagnant water, removal of the weeds, algae, garbage, bushes, and the sludge in and around the water bodies, provision for a proper outlet for the waste to drain away, and the desilting of most of the water bodies needs to be carried out in regular intervals. Also, there needed to be rearing of some fishes in the TWHS to enhance the aquaculture and to make it a tourist spot. Also, the sanctities of of Kalyanis located within a temple premises needed to be maintained, and an annual float festival called Deepotsava can be conducted to bring back the socio-cultural life of the region. Some of the Kalyanis need to be preserved as they are monuments that showcase sculpture, architecture, and culture of the the area. There are many success stories of the rejuvenation of some Kalyanis. One of it is based in the East Bangalore Taluk of Bengaluru Urban District. A Kalyani that was located in the Sri Ram temple of the Bidarahalli village in East Bangalore was had told that they will take up all the Kalyanis that come under the jurisdiction for restoration and rejuvenation. And this was successfully completed under the MGNREGA program with the help of public participation. A committee was constituted among the local youth, self-help groups, and students to maintain the environment and the sanctity of the Kalyani. An awareness camp was also conducted to create importance about the conservation of the water and the traditional importance of the water body. At present, the water of this Kalyani is being used for socio-religious purposes, including groundwater recharging. Such success stories inspire local people to maintain the environmentally friendly water bodies. There's a very interesting case study in Ladakh where the real life Phunksuk Wangdo, the inspiration of Three Idiots, Sonam Wangchu, he started a project called IISC. His aim was to find a solution for the water crisis that was faced by the farmers of Ladakh in the critical planting seasons of April to May, before the natural glacial melts water started flowing. By the end of February of 2014, he had successfully built a 2-storied prototype of an ice stupa, which could roughly store 150,000 liters of stream water, which was not wanted by anybody at that time. Apart from that, there are other innovative methods of water conservation. Some of it would be ferrocement tanks, which is a low-cost alternative for expensive water harvesting containers that are made of masonry, plastic, and RCC. It is proved to be highly effective in high rainfall regions where large amount of water needs to be stored in clean form. It is light in weight and can be molded to any shape required. It is believed to last for 25 to 30 years with little maintenance. Another innovative technique would be cycle run water pumps. It is a saver of time, cost of electricity and fuel. This technology utilizes human power generated by pedaling a bicycle to lift water from streams, ponds, canals, and wells. When the cycle is pedaled, it creates an up and down motion of pistons which pressurizes water flow to the outlet. This instrument can be bought for rupees 2,500 to 7,000, so it's very inexpensive and can be used in rural areas, especially by women, children, and old people. Apart from that, joy pumps. This innovation is designed to mitigate water scarcity problems in villages with clean surface, without a clean surface water source, with no electricity and proper monetary capacity. This is attached to a merry-go-round wheel or a seesaw, and it is similar to a conventional hand pump. When children ride these wheels, the groundwater is drawn from the tank and the tank is filled. This can be used to pump water from bore wells and large storage tankers. This is an invention from a Pune-based company called Span Pumps, and it can be used in developing countries like Africa and India. Another invention is rainwater syringe. Rainwater syringe is this pressure tank that is built 30 feet under the sea level, so that there is no seepage of seawater into the water that is stored from rainwater harvesting. It is applicable, like it is used in coastal areas like Kerala and Mangalore, so that the water that is stored could be used for drinking, as it does not have saline content. Another invention is thanks to a US-based social entrepreneur called Cynthia Coing, who saw women from Rajasthan carrying these large earthen pots. So she made an invention which was round wheel-shaped storage containers that can carry up to 50 liters of water. This reduces pain because this is a painless mobility because it does not require carrying of that. It costs about 2,000 rupees, which is again very inexpensive. these inventions can be put to use for us to form a very strong stride against towards water sustenance. There's a case study in the region of Salome district in Syria that shows how incentives from the government and proper education can motivate individuals to form communities to minimize their water consumption. The Sustainable Water Management Project in Salome district aimed to alleviate negative impacts of water shortage, such as poor yields, low income, high unemployment rates, and that collectively led to poverty and migration. It included multiple interventions in order to help farmers and create incentives for them to collectively work on scientific irrigation scheduling, water harvesting, supplemental irrigation, etc. This was a very successful project that ran in 2005 to 2010, and it led to reduced water consumptions, yield improvements, and increased water use efficiency with higher incomes and the groundwater table stabilization. Another important thing that we should talk about is water footprint. Water footprint is the total volume of fresh water that is used to produce goods and services that is consumed by an individual, a business, or a nation. So this is called the water. Water footprint. So in water footprint, there are two types. One is direct, and the second one is indirect. Direct consumption of water is the water we consume, the water we use in our day-to-day activities. Indirect or hidden or virtual water is the one that we do not see. For example, the coffee we drink nearly takes about 132 liters to make. So this is virtual water that we do not see it being used, but it plays a major role in the production, or just as everything that we use, from the food we eat, to the energy we consume, to the clothes we wear. Statistically, Germans roughly use about 125 liters per person per day. But if you put the virtual hidden water into consideration, then the number rises to 3,900 liters. In India, meanwhile, an individual's water consumption is nearly 3,000 liters, whereas China's consumption is 2,934 liters. So when we're taking water footprint into consideration, it is made out of three types together. One is green water footprint, blue water footprint, and gray water footprint. Green water footprint is the precipitation on the land, which does not run off to recharge the groundwater. So that is green water footprint. The second one would be blue water footprint, which would be the water we are irrigating from various sources like groundwater, a river, pond, etc. So blue water is formed of drinking water, irrigation water, groundwater, and surface water. Gray water is the byproducts of our production. So when we talk about gray water, we are talking about the water that we use to wash the vegetables, the water we use to wash our hands, the water we use to run washing machines, etc. Now, before I delve more into grey water, let's see the government initiatives that are aimed at building the sustainable water habits. So there are two initiatives that are ongoing right now. One is related to the groundwater, and the other one is related to grey water. The Union Minister for Jal Shakti, Gajendra Shekhawat, he launched a countrywide project to reuse the grey water, that is the runoffs of kitchen and bathing and laundry. This project is called Sujalam 2.0, where grey water recycling units will be set up across the country. A staggering number of 31,000 million ton of grey water is discharged by rural India alone, which goes to waste. This can be recycled, and this can be used to tide over a drought if it is stored evenly across the country. This initiative is based on grey water. Another initiative is based on groundwater. It's called Atal Bhujal Yojana, where 81 water scarce districts are on the course of getting 10.42 million recharge units to capture 1.85 billion cubic metric of monsoon rains. Atal Bhujal Yojana is aims at sustainable management of groundwater by community participation. It envisages people's participation through the formation of water user association, water budgeting, preparation and implementation of Gram Panchayat-wise water security plans. The identified overexploited water-stressed areas for the implementation of this scheme is Gujarat, Haryana, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, and Uttar Pradesh. Secondly, coming back to Sigilam 2, which is a grey water recycling project, it focuses on the creation of institutional level grey water management assets in the panchayat level, the healthcare facilities, schools, Anganwadi centers, etc. So there are two case studies that I have for grey water recycling. One is a story from Bangalore, another one is of Pune. The story of Bangalore is that there is this man, his name is Vinod Kumar Saxena. He saw that a large quantity of water was being drained out of his home in the form of grey water, and this was a matter of concern to him. So he decided to build his own version of grey water recycling. Like I mentioned, grey water is the runoff of kitchen, laundry, and the bathrooms. So he began to consult water experts and NGOs that he had come across in the newspaper, but he did not receive much help from them because their ideas were required a lot of space and they were not practical for him. So he decided to implement a simple solution by himself, and his solution was the plumbing. What he did was he connected all the bath water and the kitchen sinks to an underground tank with an open tank submersible pump that was made of stainless steel. So all the water from the bath and kitchen was pumped into an overhead tank for the grey water. This was in turn connected to the flushes of the toilet in his building. So to clear the water of any soap sediments, microorganism, and bad odor, what he would do is put small amounts of alum and bleach. This grey water was pumped back into the toilets, and it did not have any visible dirt or odor. Reports have suggested that people use up to an astounding level of 300 liters of water a day, which mostly drains out and becomes black water, which is not usable. By reusing this grey water, the Saxena family has managed to eliminate this expense away entirely. A little wonder that the bills are so low. Now, the second case study that I mentioned is from Pune, where it is mandated by the Pune Municipal Corporation that treated grey water should be used for building in construction site. However, this idea does not have many takers in Pune. This move was aimed at reusing the wastewater and saving potable water. This is not working because of the non-availability of tankers for transporting the water. This has become a major hurdle. According to the tank owners, this method is not sustainable because they have to carry water from the treatment sites to the construction area. According to S.S. Jamkar, who wrote a paper saying grey water, a potential source for construction water, he says that kitchen waste can be easily treated and used for construction. However, the sewage waste cannot be used directly because there is a chance that it might react with the concrete. That is why it has to be treated properly before, and then it can be used for construction. The government officials claim that the pH of the water was properly treated and it has been checked and it was ready to be used for construction sites, and the awareness about the said matter was already spread amongst the real estate agencies. However, the problem with the whole initiative is that on a normal day, the current practice, tankers that transport water to the construction site take nearly 800 to 900 rupees if they are bringing water from a nearby well or a borewell. But then this rate will double if they have to bring the tanker from the treatment plant to the construction site because the distance is exponential. However, the civic administration has appealed to the contractors and municipal works of road and traffic builders to use this treated water because it is a sustainable option. This is we are yet to see how this pans out for Pune. Apart from that, like Vinod Kumar Saxena was able to make changes in his building's plumbing to conserve water, not many of us own houses in major metropolitan city. So making changes in the plumbing is out of question. What people can do as renters to conserve water is what I will address now. Some of the things they could do is
Asta,
probably
time
audit
is
the
up.
property. Oh, okay, sir.
Asta, time is up.
Can I conclude? Can I conclude, sir?
Yeah, please conclude in 1
Okay.
second.
Okay. To summarize, yesterday somebody rightly quoted that jal hai to kal hai. Right now the situation is jal hai to hum hai. So what we have to do, what India has to do, is to call back on this traditional practices that it was already being used. It should also start recycling the grey water, because that is the most inexpensive method that is available to us right now. And people should also realize their individual responsibility towards the conservation of water, because like I said, jal hai to hum hai. Thank you.
Thank you, Asta. Then we will move on to the next presentation by Tulika, water sustenance. Tulika, you have 15 minutes. You will hear the bell when 2 minutes to go.
Am I audible, sir?
You are audible.
Okay, sir. So good morning, good afternoon to everyone. Today I will be talking about water sustenance. As Astha already said, a lot of cost-effective things for water sustainability in using rainwater harvesting and other methods, and also in different geographical aspects. I will be speaking about how the water availability is affecting our current generation. So we are seeing how climate change, population growth, and unsustainable water use practices are among the numerous factors that are leading to the water crisis today. So according to United Nations, the water scarcity affects more than 40% of the global population, and simulation shows that by 2050 in India, due to population growth, urbanization, and industrialization, the water supply will be very low for the population. So, as she also spoke about the water footprint, we know that the water footprint depends on different kinds of factors like the person's lifestyle, their diet, and all those things. So according to the National Institute of Hydrology in India, the average water footprint of an individual is around 2,980 liters per day per person, and whereas it is 1,087,700 per year per person per year per person. So, according to the Ministry of Jal Shakti, the average water availability in India has declined from 14,000 liter per person per day to 4,000 liter per person per day till from 1951 to 2011, and which shows how the water availability has decreased drastically. And according to the Composite Water Management Index, a report by Niti Aayog in 2018, which shows the major cities of India, including Delhi, Chennai, Hyderabad, who are expected to run out the groundwater by 2020, and which will affect more than 100 millions of people. So we can see how it is essential to adopt the sustainable water management practices and to promote the water conservation to ensure the availability of the water resources in our country and all over the world. So to address the water crisis, we know how forests play a crucial role in water cycle, as it acts as a natural sponge, absorbing and storing the rainwater and releasing it slowly into the streams and rivers, maintaining the water flow throughout the year. So which is basically the water cycle. So forest intercept approximately 15 to 20% of rainfall, which is then slowly released into the groundwater. So if we see that in India, for the endemic forests like Western Ghats works as a water storage, and there are many rivers in this country, and many scientific researchers have proven that the forest loss has led to reduced water availability in that area and the surrounding areas. For example, we can see that in the Western Ghats section of area, forest loss has resulted in reduction of up to 30% of stream flow during the dry season, and due to the deforestation and land use changes, which has led to decrease of the groundwater recharge up to 50%. And if we see the river basin wise, the Bhadra river basin has the water yield from Bhadra river basin has decreased by 2.5% due to the reduction of forest of 10%. And in Kaveri river basin, the 8% forest loss has led to 7% decrease of water yield. And if we see the Saravati river basin condition from 1973 to current scenario, the decrease of forest area from 50% to 30% due to huge amount of logging, agricultural expansion and urbanization, that has resulted in decrease of water yield from 6,000 million cubes to 4,900 million cubic meters in 2000 in current scenario, and which represents a reduction of about 19%. So this shows a reduction in the quality of the agricultural practices there, and which has also changed their agricultural practices from wet agriculture and horticulture to the dry agricultural pattern. So we can see how it is essential to promote the forest conservation and to restore the forest to ensure the sustainability of the water resources in India. And we can take the initiatives like afforestation of native species to restore the forest landscape, which can maintain and restore the ecological function of the forest so that the long-term availability of the water retains. And while talking about water, agriculture is the highest in agriculture we use the highest amount of water, which accounts for 70% of the water withdrawal of in globally. And if we talk about India, according to the Central Water Commission, the irrigation efficiency in India ranges from 25% to 50%, which means that more of the irrigation water has been wasted. So also, if we talk about different kind of agricultural activities, like the production of agriculture activities, that also differs in water usages. By ICAR, the report shows that 1 kilo of wheat requires 1,500 to 2,000 liters of water to produce, and whereas for producing 1 kilo of rice, which requires 2,500 to 5,000 liters of water, and 1 kilo of sugar requires around 12,000 liters of water. Whereas to produce 1 kilo of pulses, it is only required 200 liters of water. So we can see how our diet can be dependent on the water consumption of which can also affect our water footprint. So in India, around 40% of the fruits and vegetables produced are wasted, and this waste results in loss of around 4,584 million cubic meters of loss of water each year, which is equivalent to the annual water consumption of Delhi. So we can see how it is essential to adopt the sustainable food habits to ensure the water sustainability by reducing the consumption of water intensive foods and minimizing our food waste, and our lifestyle can significantly reduce the water footprint of our particular individual. So now we can discuss some solutions to this problem, and one of the most effective solution, like also Asta said, that the rainwater harvesting, which has shown by the National Institute of Hydrology that harvesting rainwater in arid and semi-arid regions can remove the water scarcity by 40%. For example, in the Rajasthan, in Rajasthan, a village named Kishori in Alwar district has implemented the decentralized rainwater harvesting system that collects the rainwater from rooftops and channels, and they stored that into an underground storage tank, and it has helped them to replenish the groundwater reserves and provide the reliable sources for water for the whole community. And another solution is to use the water efficient technologies in the agricultural activities, which can reduce the water losses and increase the irrigation efficiency. So according to a study by International Water Management Institute, the adoption of water efficient technologies can reduce the water use in agriculture by up to 50%. So for example, we can say in Karnataka, the farmers have adopted a sustainable farming technique called system of rice intensification, or SRI, which uses less water and produces higher yields in rice. So this has helped to reduce the water consumption in agriculture, and this has also promoted sustainable farming practices. And also the wastewater treatment can also help in sustain the water resources, and this treated water can be used for agricultural and industrial activities. The use of the treated wastewater can reduce the demand of fresh water and alleviate the pressure on the existing water resources. So if we go to the statistics, we can see according to World Bank, the wastewater can provide up to 30% of the water needed for the agriculture in water scarce areas. And to see a real life scenario, to mitigate the water crisis in Bangalore, a sustainable wastewater management system was implemented in Jakkur Lake, which would treat the incoming wastewater and prevent it from entering the lake. And this method was implemented by integrating the wetland ecosystem. So we can see how the sustainable ways of using the water can lead us to mitigate the water crisis. So India is one of the countries that is mostly affected by water scarcity and pollution, and this is a home to over more than 1.4 billion of people, and the demand of water increasing rapidly due to population growth shows the water scarcity is a problem to be solved. So the statistics I have demonstrated so far shows the severity of water crisis and the need for conservation and management practices like rainwater harvesting, water efficient technologies, and wastewater treatment and reuse are only just a few solutions that can help to sustain the water resources. So it is important that the government and policymakers take an action to ensure the availability of clean and safe water for future generations. And more importantly, individuals can play a role in promoting sustainable water management practices in the community and also in individual level. By adopting the water conservation policies, promoting the sustainable agriculture and lifestyle, and advocating sustainable water policies, we can contribute to availability and quality of water resources in our region. So let us all take responsibility and make our conscious choice towards water sustainability. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tulika. Now we'll move on to the next presentation on sustainable mobility by Harsh Yadav. Harsh?
Yes, sir. So am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible. You have 15 minutes to go. You can start
Yes,
the
sir.
presentation. The duration of presentation of 15 minutes.
Yes, sir. So I would like to start with a quote. The former mayor of Bogota, Mr. Enrique Peñalosa, once said, "An advanced city is not one where the poor people have cars to use, but rather one where even the rich people use public transportation." So, good afternoon, everyone. Today, I, Harsh, a resident of Noida, Uttar Pradesh, I'm here to speak in front of you for the motion on the topic of sustainable mobility. Sustainable mobility is mobility redefined from an ecological perspective, as it is focused more on reducing emissions and reducing fossil fuel usage. It also promotes social and economical equalities and benefits for the society as a whole. So, what is the need of sustainable mobility? As we know that the transport sector is one of the biggest contributors towards air pollution and noise pollution. It causes a lot of health risk factors, and it also is responsible for a lot of death related to road accidents. And according to the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, 1.5 lakh people died due to road accidents in the year 2021 alone. So that is why we need a proper plan for sustainable mobility. Now, talking of Bengaluru, which is the IT capital of the country and the state capital of Karnataka, it was listed and ranked as second most congested city in the world according to the TomTom index ranking. In the same list, we find Maharashtra's city, Pune, on the 7th rank, all in the top 10. So there was one survey carried out by the World Wildlife Fund in 2020, which focused on understanding the perception of the Bengaluru city's people on how does sustainable mobility affects climate change. So they found out some interesting insights, and they recommended the following actions. They recommended promotion of infrastructure for electric vehicles and battery recharging stations. They suggested the promotion of more rapid deployment of bus rapid transit system, BRTS, and priority bus lanes, etc. in the city. In order to reduce congestion, they urged that it is a need for everyone to use less of private vehicles and more of the public transport, and to increase the number of buses from around 6,000 to 14,000 in the city of Bangalore. They also suggested that it would be very helpful if we can deploy the Internet of Things for real-time information and ticketing practices. Then policies also need to be implemented for the development of further public transportation in a green and clean manner. Also, green belts can be deployed along with highways. So this was presented in the report. These were the recommendations that were given out by the survey. And I think we can all agree with these findings, but these all come under the third phase of LiFE, that is LiFE for the Environment Mission. The third phase talks about change in policy, but before this phase, we need to mobilize the first two phases. The first phase, which is of the LiFE mission, which the mission focuses on this 2022-2023 year, is phase one, which is change in demand. So we need to nudge people into adopting practices in their daily lives, which helps to mobilize this change in demand. So we, as I mentioned yesterday also, but I would like to mention them again. The policy, the change in demand can be only brought about if we inculcate some important practices in our daily lives, which include spreading awareness. The youth has to take charge for this, as we are technologically advanced as compared to other generations, and of course our future generations will be more into technology, and they would be able to spread the message forward as well. The other things that we can do should be driving safely, keeping care of our tires, and periodical pollution checks for our private vehicles, use more of public transportation, metro services, BRTS and all. Next, we can use cycles and choose to walk for small commutes. We can always choose to not order food online and just try takeaway or go and visit the restaurant by ourselves using public transport, of course. Then we should prefer using CNG and electric vehicles over our conventional petrol and diesel vehicles, or at least go for hybrid vehicles which have a much lower carbon footprint than our regular, or carbon emissions than our regular conventional vehicles. Hybrid vehicles are those which use a smaller ICU engine, internal combustion unit, along with an electric motor, which helps in regeneration of energy by utilizing the heat that is lost usually in braking. It converts it into electricity, and thereby increases the efficiency of the vehicle. And we should follow practices like switching off engines at all the red lights, etc. So only through these practices, if we inculcate them into our daily lives, we can bring about a change in the demand, which would eventually lead into a change in policy, which is the second phase of life. And finally, we can have, a change in supply, which is the second phase of life, as it would create a need for the companies and the private sector also to obey to the demand of the people. And then this would lead to the third phase of life, which is change in policy. And then we can implement the recommendations that were given by the WWF report of 2020 on the city of Bangalore. And only by these practices, we can move towards a better sustainable mobility future. And this would also help us achieve our sustainable development goals, as many of the goals are directly or indirectly affected by the transport sector. I rest my case. Thank you for your patient listening.
Okay, thank you, Harsh. So now we'll listen to Paras Negi on sustainable mobility.
Good afternoon to all. Am I audible, sir?
You're audible, you're visible.
Okay, sir. Today, my topic is sustainable mobility, and I am talking against of it because it falls short. It falls short in our Indian geographical area, because the most of the population reside in the rural areas only of the India, and economically and geographically it sorts in the it is not viable in our Indian situations, because in the geographically it can't claim in the steep slopes, even if it has torque engines, constant torque engines, but even then it can't climb in the hilly areas or the slopey areas. And there are too many, and it is because India is not a that developed country, or not financially equipped. So most of the according to a survey of United Nations, around 80% of our population, Indian population, earns only $6 per day in India, and based on that, it is not possible to buy electric vehicles, because even a two-wheeler vehicle, if we go to purchase a two-wheeler vehicle, it costs around 1.5 lakh, and which is not affordable to a common man. And the second is that lack of infrastructure in the we have not developed that infrastructure for the electronic vehicles and for the pedestrian, and even these are not suitable for in a long range, or to travel for a far range. And as my friend in the told that using public transport, it is good, but public transport doesn't give the independence to a particular individual, and the mode of it also individual right to choose this mode of transportation. And coming to the it has also that electronic, we are talking about electronic vehicles. It has the charging time. It takes around a two-wheeler will take around 5 hours to charge fully, and but we can and even in traditional vehicles, gasoline vehicles, we can fill it in a few minutes. And energy also the energy consumption, basically the EV vehicles, the basic component are lithium, cobalt, and manganese to form that lithium cells, or for the lithium batteries, which which produce a lot of carbon emission during its production time. And we talk about that mitigating the carbon in the running span of the particular vehicle. But initially, when we are generating that component, it is hard to mitigate that or to reduce that carbon emission. And basically, taking the example of hilly terrains, and as I have talked about that, that it is not compatible, and because we need that the frequency of charging spots are in a more frequency, and which is not still available in Indian scenario. Even in the it is basically it is compatible in urban areas where we can set up like in a kilometer on in a charging station with the station with the petrol pumps and kind of thing. But in as I told you that according to the 2011 census, that around 65, more than 65 or 68% of Indian population is rural. Then because of that, economically and geographically, it is not viable. And the extraction of this basic component for the lithium battery, we have to mine, because these are all rare earth metals. Like lithium is lithium, and cobalt is the mixture of the mixture. And that for extraction of these earth metal, we are degrading the forest ecosystem in a very large way, large manner. And the processing cost and the processing the environmental impact is basically in the initial phase, and it is too much as comparable in the lifespan of a particular vehicle. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Paral, for the presentation. So now I think we have come to the end of the presentation. Can all of you switch on the video? I'll just take a photo so that Ashpreet. Asta Shetty. Rahul Pandey. Prasanna. Madam Anandi.
Sir, I'm unable. Sir, I'm unable to put on my video. Can the host do it, sir?
Okay, fine. Okay, we will take the clip now. Rahul Pandey is not visible. Rahul Pandey.
Katmala is an document. Nodi, quickly, okay?
Yeah, you are visible now.
Thank you.
Ravi Pandey? Okay, so now we have come to the last part of our session, that is the selecting the people for the parliament, youth parliament. What I thought is that in a few minutes, myself, Dr. Anandi Subramanian, Dr. Aruna, and others in my group will evaluate, we'll consolidate like yesterday, and by 3 o'clock we will announce the results. So we will select 6 people. Tomorrow we will have a e-parliament. So in the morning you will create a group. We'll share with you all. 6 of you will discuss like in a parliament, the mock debate you will have. Then in the afternoon, when we meet around 3 o'clock, with the juries, you are going to do the presentation. Then out of 6, we are going to choose 5 for the youth parliament, which will be sent to the Delhi. And in Delhi, there will be a meeting the last week of this month, organized by the ministry through IIF, Indian Institute of Forest Management. Okay, so I hope it is clear to all of you. Now what we will do is the jury will evaluate, and we will share the marks, we'll consolidate the marks, and we'll announce the results at 3 o'clock today. And we will choose now today, out of 12 people, we are going to select 6. The 6 will, and we will share the meeting link, which is operational for tomorrow morning as well as afternoon. The morning, you will have a mock debate among yourself. My advice to you all is to look at how the parliament functions and just think, you choose the topic, you can deliberate. Out of 6, you can have 1 person as a speaker who can moderate the session, and other 5 can deliberate, and speaker also can take part in the discussion. Then after that, I think in the morning, none of us will be there. Maybe one of us might be there. So then afternoon, the 6 of you will do the presentation in presence of the juries. Myself, Dr. Anandi Subramanian, Dr. Aruna, Dr. Sara, and the others will join us. So we will have the thing. Then once that is evaluated, 5 of you will be chosen for the youth parliament, the scheduled in Delhi. Okay. Is it clear to all of you? Do you have any doubt? Hello?
No, sir. No doubts.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. So that afternoon around 3 o'clock, I'll be sending the list to all of you who have chosen for the next round. 6 of you will be chosen. So don't be disappointed. All of you have done a very good job. There are some gaps. If you want to see this, what are the gaps that we are going to post this in the YouTube. You can have an assessment yourself. Okay. So that will be done either today evening or tomorrow morning. We will do that. The 6 of you are going to discuss among yourself in the morning. You will have the youth parliament. You will have the flavor of feeling the parliament. But I would advise you to go through how the parliament debate happens. There are YouTube channel. You will get some of those debates. You can just have a look at it. Then tomorrow morning you can debate like that. Please don't behave like a current parliamentarian who throw the papers, who shout and all those things. You should maintain the decorum. So when you look at the video, don't tell me that there are fightings are happening. People are throwing the paper. That's where we are also doing it. Don't do that. So then in the afternoon, we will evaluate your presentation, your debate. So we will not give the topic. I will choose 1 person as a speaker, and that person is going to moderate the session, and then you will debate. And my advice is that that today when I select 6 people, I'll also give the theme so that you can look at some of the policy things. For example, if there is a water, the person who has been given the water topic should look at the Jal Shakti, this one. What are the policy measures the Jal Shakti has taken? What is the gap you should look at? Similarly, the person who is chosen for energy should look at the energy aspect. The person who is chosen for the mobility should look at the policy aspect of the mobility, infrastructure, etc. So that today afternoon, around 3 o'clock, I will send you the list of the people with the topic. So you are going to deliberate, keeping in mind what are the policies that are there of the government of India and what are the gaps and how to improve that, okay? So that we can achieve the goals of lifestyle for environment. So behaviorally and policy measures required for that also, we will try to see how to incorporate. I am sure that youngsters can make a change. So with these words, we will be concluding today's the session and look forward for meeting you all tomorrow, the afternoon at 3 o'clock. And morning, you will have a mock debate. I will share the meeting link so that you can discuss among yourself around 10:30 in the morning. So, Madam Aruna, do you have anything to say to the youngsters? Dr. Aruna?
So each of the persons spoke so well, and they have come out with a lot of novel ideas. And it is indeed very heartening to know that there is so much of knowledge they have gained at this young age itself. So I congratulate each one of them for their wonderful presentations.
Okay, thank you.
And
So,
they are the real life ambassadors. I must really congratulate each one of them for volunteering.
okay, thank you, madam. So let us now listen to Dr. Anandi Subramanian. Madam.
Hi, it's really great. I am really enthused by this debate and this setting. I think it's a very good idea that the ministry has come up with. And the ideas which these youngsters have put forth, it's very interesting. And I really wish that they would join the Life Ambassador movement that we have started and sign up for it, because they'll really help to create awareness and spread our message. And whatever the ideas that they have, we can really spread it through this medium. So I just hope they sign up for all of this, and congrats to all of you. And just don't feel disheartened if you're not selected, because this is only the first step, and there'll be many more to come. So your ideas are really appreciated, and I'm sure it will be appreciated at the government level also. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you all. Dr. Aruna and Dr. Anandi, please send me the marks, the candidate wise. So you are going to evaluate each candidate, 5 marks for the content, 5 marks for the quality of the presentation. You will evaluate for 10 marks and send me the marks so that I'll add with the other members and consolidate, and whoever has scored, the top 6 will be chosen for tomorrow. So, okay. Is this clear to all of you? Okay, we'll end the session now. Thank you very much. All the best. So we look forward for your active participation tomorrow, and some more novel ideas we will see. And I'm sure all of you will represent India in the parliament soon. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.